Okay. 1 second. Okay, good afternoon all. Karina, happy Friday, happy Halloween. I've got my costume on. What do I think? Do I look scary? Okay, so let's have a little look. So we've had very little volume again overnight. So we literally just pushed up, pulled back, and we've been in this range for, well, certainly from the UK point of view, most of the night. We had a little drop out and a couple of legs back in. So let me just check. Things are open and as they should. So one more profitable day and I'll be able to withdraw some money again. So hopefully that's the start of things to come. So I'm running a little late actually. I've just been out picking up some medication for someone and a little bit of shopping. So market is open, yeah. So let's have a look. Maybe something like that. Possible. Probably. Maybe something like that. It's just a bit early at the moment. It kind of looks like 2 legs. Do you do most? Not really, mate. Well, I usually get to the chart an hour first, set everything up, but I very rarely take a trade. I just heard Mac once that said he traded from about an hour before the kind of mainstream charts open. So usually I will, but I don't trade. I don't take any trades, but I tend to trade usually from about 2:30 to about 5 o'clock. Usually that's dinner time in the UK. See, so I usually going to have dinner with my family, but then, you know, come 6:30, that's about 1:30 in the afternoon Eastern time. So there's still a bit of the day left. So yeah, sometimes I'll come back. If I've taken a trade, generally I won't. But if I haven't taken a trade, I will come back because I do hear a lot of people of, you know, trading 4, 5, 6 hours plus. So I'm thinking if I haven't taken a trade, perhaps I should come back. Disco, how are you doing? I am still toying with the idea of renting a small office. Reason being, I still do stupid stuff with evaluations quite a bit. So I'm thinking if I can rent a small office. Now, you can rent a little office where I am for a couple of £100 a month. You know, that's about the price of 10 evaluations. So if you're busting a load of evaluations, trading silly, just out of boredom, sometimes you're better off to get your computer out of the house. Now, there's dozens of offices near where I live. I could drive 1 mile up the road, whereas I can, you know, take all my computer equipment, put it there, so I can literally just turn up, trade my day, and then walk away. And so I'm still toying with the idea. I think I'd actually probably save money because I do stupid evaluations sometimes. I don't have much success with them. I trade them at max contracts and it just doesn't work much nowadays. A lot of times you can get, if you get into profit and the bar comes back, you can lose your account in 1 bar. So I'm just wondering, I might be better off just treating this more like a job, turning up, doing 3 or 4 hours, and then sort of just going home. You know what I mean? So I'm toying with the idea. I'm going to make a decision after Christmas, I think. I just want to go over all my financials. But I think it would probably be better for me. Trouble is, when we got kind of, you know, this computer equipment's just in a spare room we got in the house. So it's just, you know, sometimes if you're bored and you think, oh, you know, evaluations are cheap, I'll just do a few. It's surprising how they mount up over a month. I'll probably save myself what I spend, to be honest with you. I have limiting beliefs about evals. Don't get me wrong, evals are kind of part of it. The trouble is, on the doubt that they're great for newer traders because they give you a small taste of what it feels like to have some skin in the game without a lot of money. The trouble is, when you get to the stage where they're that cheap, you tend to treat them like toy money, for want of a better word. It's almost like monopoly money. Because you're not risking much, the tendency is to not take them serious. And you may think, well, you know, when they're like 90% off, what are they, $16? It's about £13 in the UK. That's the price of 2 pints of beer. So the trouble is, when they are that cheap, you do tend to trade them aggressively. And the trouble is, when you trade them aggressively, usually it doesn't go well. And what it does create is bad habits. And that's what just frustrates me. You know, I am starting to look more at straight to funded. Now, I've got 5 Traderify straight to funded accounts. I have treated them much better. In fact, I can categorically say now I have made more than double what I've paid out. And I've only been using Traderify 2.5 months, something like that. So there's Lucid Trading, which is another one straight to funded. And there's I was just browsing YouTube last night and I saw a guy on a video and I took a screenshot of it. What's going on here? Bear me a second. I took a okay. It's called Top 1 Futures. Now, you know, a lot of these companies are new. You never quite know, you know, how things are going to pan out. But what I will say is, if you had, say, 5 accounts with Apex, 5 accounts with Traderify, 5 accounts with Lucid, 5 accounts with Top 1 Trading, whatever it was called, you could have 5 accounts with Take Profit Trader, 5 accounts with... So, you know, you could have a small amount of a pie without risking too much in one prop firm. Because some of these new prop firms, you know, the likes of Apex been around for a fair few years now, but some of the newer ones, you never know. So I wouldn't want a huge amount of money invested in them. Yeah, it's been... So I'm just looking at this year. So January, February, March, April, and May, over those 5 months, and I only had about 9 accounts paying out, and that equated to $33,000. So in the first 5 months. So let's say 35,000 in 5 months. So that's 70,000 in 10 months. So you're talking about 80,000 a year, just for argument's sake. Now that's trading, you know, only sort of making money from 9 accounts. So if you double that, you're talking comfortably 6 figures, then, aren't you? 140,000, whatever. So I'm just looking at the potentials. So did well. Think I started to relax a bit. I had a bad day or two. Now, I 100% expected this to come down there purely and simply because we're ranging. We've had a break out the top, and I expected one similar size at the bottom. So my gut feeling is this was going to come down. I didn't like the bar. It's a bit sideways, so I left it, first of all. So, so what happened is I had a bad day or a bad couple of days, got a bit frustrated. Something was happening. My daughter suffers with ADHD, and she can be quite hard work. And, you know, if she's in the house, it can be quite stressful. And, you know, I had a bad couple of days and I was trading and I just happened to move my stop once and price came towards me. When it came towards me, I panicked and moved it again. By that time, I was in it for $800. So when you're that far down and you're panicking, the tendency is to hold on. And it's a kind of, am I going to get lucky? And it's going to come back on me and I'm going to get out. And in my case, it didn't. It went against me. So then for the next month, 6 weeks, just out of pure frustration, I was picking up accounts and blowing them, picking up accounts and blowing them, just out of frustration. And then I kind of had a couple of days off and I chat my wife and decided, look, it takes time to build up a little bit of profit in there because you start from zero, obviously. So I just had to go through it again, and it took me about 2.5 months to get about $3,000 to $4,000, which is, you know, $1,200, $1,250 per week, something like that. So in the end, I got there, and now I've had some payments. So far this month, over the last couple of weeks, 16,500. There's a good chance I can get another 3,000 in a couple of days. So when you've got accounts with profit in, you can, it's not too difficult to expect much, some money every month or whatever the case is. So if I wouldn't have blown those accounts, I'd have still continued to make some money. So I do sometimes out of boredom trade evaluations. The trouble is sometimes when you're trading them, you almost feel like you're gambling because you're treating them just purely like gambling, and it can get you into bad habits. So, I'm thinking, if I think about what I blow a month, I'm better off paying £250 and getting a little office. That way I can get everything out. And, when you go down that road with a little office, you get maybe your professional head on and you make better decisions. So I'm toying with the idea anyway. Now, I don't buy a toaster without researching it and Googling it and YouTubing it to find out if it's any good. So I don't generally make rash decisions. Well, you may say that's a load of crap compared to how I trade sometimes. But generally, when I decide to go down a certain road with a product or whatever, or a car or whatever, I generally look into it and try and make the best decision I can. Now, I can have a short lease of 6 months, which is not a huge amount of money. I could pay that in one lump sum, do 6 months, and then try it. So I'm just going to think about it, see how the profits go over the next couple of months, get Christmas out the way, then during the Christmas break, I'll make a decision. Now, nothing's going to change. I'll still be streaming, and I'll just be doing it in a little office somewhere, but it'll just keep me to office hours and, focusing or treating trading like it should be treated, just like a job. Nothing more, nothing less. So I'm just mulling over the idea. Now, obviously, it is a financial commitment. It's not a huge one. I could get 6 months of office for about £1,200, £1,300. So it's not, it's not a huge amount. Need to change mentally. Found a difference. That one accounts. Max strategy. Go slow, not prop firms. Yeah. A small drawdown. Menace. I changed it. If you've got page, you're going to start again. Yeah. See, another thing as well, I watched a guy who trades these straight to funded accounts. So let's say Traderify, you get $3,000, you take two, you've only got $1,000 left. Technically, you've got $900 a drawdown. And what he does is he takes a risk. If he manages to get the account back up, great. Otherwise, he'll kind of rinse and repeat. So he looks at it as an investment. He pays $350, makes $2,000. He's eight times X his money in the space of a couple of months or a month or however he trades them. But I think I am getting back to 2 contracts and 1 trade a day rather than 1 contract and 2 trades a day. If you are risking a little bit more money, I think sometimes you make a better decision and you're not under pressure to take a trade. Now, if I go for 3 points and I take 1 trade for 2 contracts, that's $300 profit. I can make a nice living taking 1 trade a week. Now, you're always going to find 1 absolute beauty trade per week, at least. So I think sometimes you're better off risking that little bit more and taking a better setup. So these are just, sort of my kind of thought process. But I seem to think I did better when I was trading 2 contracts. Trading 1 contract, you got to do twice as much work to kind of get the same gain. That's assuming you have a profitable strategy that you can make money from in the first place. So I think a couple of people took that. To be honest, it wasn't very good for me. Now, that looked really kind of nice for Taylor took that and it worked. Now, he took it on a limit order. It's fair size bar. Another thing I need to develop a bit is my patience. I notice sometimes traders with bigger bars jump in on a limit order. I know Thomas Wade almost always gets it on a limit order further back. I tend to rush in, I think, sometimes. I think if you see a good bar and it's not too big, then yeah, jump in where you should. But if it's a big bar, maybe drop it 4 or 5 ticks back. Because a lot of times I'll avoid a trade because it's got because there's a big risk. But when really what I should be doing is say, okay, if the bar's risk, but I like the setup, let's just get in. But we'll cut the risk by putting a limit order further back, and if it gets me, great. But look, I've made already double what I made last year. The year before, last year I made nearly 3 times what I made the year before. So over the last 3 years, I am progressively making more money. You get used to it. You get used to the emotions, and it does slowly, not necessarily get easier, but you get more used to dealing with it, and it doesn't stress you and panic so much. So I'm just going through these thoughts and that over the next couple of months, and then I'll make the decision over the Christmas break. I want to see how I can hold on to these accounts first and foremost for the next 2 months, and if that is the case, then I'll make a judgment whether I kind of rent a small office. But there's definitely pros and cons, I think. But sometimes at home there can be distractions. I have distractions, that's for certain. I've got, maybe the dog's barking away, maybe my daughter, and sometimes you can get a bit frustrated. When my daughter was in and out yesterday, she was a bit stressed on Halloween costume, and I could felt myself getting stressed a bit, which is part of the reason why I finished a bit early yesterday. So, there are pros and cons. If you've got no distractions at home, it can be okay, but if you're paying, say, £200 a month, I think realistically 250. I've looked at offices before. You've only got to get one wrong trade and you've more than lost that. So if there are distractions, sometimes it's the lesser of two evils. Time is your best friend as a trader. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I will say now, it may sound a bit odd, this, but for me, trading feels like a competitive sportsman. Now, when I say it sounds a bit odd, it's because I've never been a competitive sportsman, but I do understand how the world of competitive sports works. It's so much up here, isn't it? If you're a world champion tennis player, you're Andy Murray or Roger Federer. They have coaches and they have psychological coaches as well. Sometimes if you're on your game and you're right, but we sportsmen talk about that all the time. My mind isn't in the game. I'm not focused. And it does in a way feel like a competitive sport. So you've got to kind of be pretty focused all the time. And I think if you're not focused, also you've got to be aware of that as well, because sometimes it's good to walk away. A couple of days over the last month, I've said something's not right. I feel a bit tetchy. I'm jumping at trades. I'm getting in and then straight out. And I am starting to be aware that if I get a day like that, then you're best off just to walk away. Because when you have days like that, you're probably going to do yourself more harm than good staying in there. So, it's a job that you do need to kind of be aware of how you're operating currently, how you feel. Are things okay? Have you got stuff on your mind? Do you feel impatient? And so on. You may get a triple test here. So is there a channel like that? Possibly. It's hard to say. It looks like a 2-tiered channel. Anyway, we've had a push down and a break. We've had 1, 2 attempts. If we get a third attempt, I may have a go at short here. So let's just zoom out and have a look what's going on. So we've pushed up there and cleaned out any liquidity along there and then dropped quite strong. So you would naturally think the next place would be areas down here where price would possibly target. Because at the moment, we're generally ranging, we are swinging, maybe 20, 40, 60, 80, 100 points up and down at the moment, but we are kind of doing a little bit of that. So as we've pushed up quite strong overnight and cleared out any liquidity here, usually these big institutions tend to do that to help their momentum uh, going short. So my kind of rough guess would be this is generally where prices are probably going to pull down to. Now, it doesn't mean they're going to come down right from here. They could pull back a little bit first, but that would generally be my thought process. So there is a bearish bar there. I don't like that, though. Now, we have broken above there. For me, I want something a little stronger. It may work, but for me, it's just not brilliant. And there we go. There's the reason why. So now a leg and a leg. Trouble is, we got maybe support and resistance along here, so we may have a leg and a leg up, but I think there's a good chance this comes down, but it's just look at bookmap. Okay, so 92.5. There's liquidity at 92.5, which is there. So this may come down from here, actually. Leg and a leg. It's certainly possible. My only slight concern is, as I say, I use bookmap often to stay out of trade. There's a lump of liquidity there at 92.5. So I want to give this market a little bit more time just to pull back to this area. And then I'll kind of make a decision. But I do think price is going to go a bit higher to that liquidity. We'll see. So it hasn't quite hit it yet, so I'll give it a bit more space yet. Now, there is two legs, so I'm guessing that's pretty much a measured move. It's over a measured move. So now, for me, to take it here, I would have to wait for a lower high. 16 ticks there, that is. Now, we've still got those orders up there, so I'm just going to sit tight. Now, it may come down, but I'm not too bothered. But if we get a lower high, then I will get in there. But apart from that, I'm just going to leave this alone. There's always the possibility there could be something like that, which is another reason just to give this a bit of space. If we got a channel up here with a break, push up new high, then it may come down. So I got mixed feelings here at the moment. Now, there is going to be buyers there. I don't doubt it. So let's see what happens here. So clearly getting in short there is looking like it would have been a bad idea. And the reason I left that is because of that liquidity up there. Now, I did say if we get a lower high, that may interest me, but that lower high for me would have to close below the lows. Not far from stopping that out and that out, and that would give us, that's no good for me. Let's see if it's any better on here. It's a bit trappy here. There's longs in this and there's shorts in this. So who's gonna give out first? Okay, bar's no good even if I wanted to go short. But as this liquidity is up here, I'm just going to sit tight. It's at 92.5, which is right there. Now this does look like it's pushing down. That's fine. I got no entry here, unfortunately. We get a pullback, big strong move down. So my guess is it's took out that and that as well. We have got down here, but I'd like a little pullback here. But this does look like, that does look like a correction, and it's probably going to continue down. So this is interesting. See that big bearish bar there's triggered, it's immediately climbing back up. So possibly a long failure. See what happens. These bars are getting rather large, aren't they? So strong move below the EMA, trigger that bar and immediately start climbing. I would like it to trigger above that bull bar to trigger the second entry long, and that may give us, because how this is looking now, I don't even know whether that's right, to be honest with you. But if it isn't, there's certainly something like that. We have made a new low, but we could still make a couple of attempts at it making that. It looks like a correction. We've got to move down with a correction. So I think there's a good chance we get a second leg down, down to these levels. That would take us down there. Trouble is, it's going to just drop, I think. If we get something like that, that's going to take us right down to this area here. And there's no guarantees you're going to get that. That's just maybe some sort of technical speculation. Still got those orders up here. Now, there's no guarantees they're going to get hit. This is interesting. We could have two legs up. We could have something like that. Yeah, that bullish bar. Could say there's a failure there. It's just something about that I don't like. How much liquidity is down there? Right, the bar's 20 ticks already. Yeah, it's too late now. It has taken out that liquidity there. So there's nothing you can do. I'm not getting into 25 ticks with that little bit left. So the thought process was right. Just unfortunately, no real entries. You may have thought, we'll have a go at that, but we've not really trapped anything. There's no failure there. There isn't on this side anyway. That bar didn't trigger, but then it did just drop. So I think it probably will push down now to these lows. We may get a pullback, but just unfortunately, sometimes you kind of know where it's going, but if you don't get an entry, what can you do? So we got two legs up. See if we retest these. There is liquidity here, so you can see this liquidity, so it may still attempt to do something. It's just, I can't see it happening myself. Nothing you can do there. It's just gone. The move's already gone, to be honest with you. Okay, so just looking at what other traders have got, Thomas Way's more or less got the same thing as me. Slightly different, in which case you would expect that to push down. That looks a little bit better, actually. Instead of putting here, I've extended up and brought that down a bit, and it touches nice there. We got a straight leg up there with a little break, so you'd expect a break there, wouldn't you? Two nice legs up. If we can come up and test this, maybe clear some of this liquidity. I think this is quite weak, this liquidity. So if we can get above this, we may get a second leg down to break these lows. I'm just going to get an order up here just ready.
Order submitted.
Check we got no news. I'm pretty sure we haven't. No, we haven't. Now, second entry short there. We've got liquidity there and there. Trouble is, we've got a bar there. That's quite strong, so damn, it's gone without me. Oh, that's a shame. See if it comes back or it takes that. It's not going to, is it? Damn. It's 19 ticks on that side. I ain't taking that. That's just too much. I'm not going for 19 ticks. See if it triggers this. Trouble is, it's getting a bit congested now. Could have gotten there on a limit all. The trouble is, on this side now, it's getting a little bit stacked up. So we want to break out of here, take out that, and then I think for me, I'm glad I left that now because it is looking sideways. So if we can push above here, maybe here and here, and then we get two little legs up, we may get that second move down. We may get it here now, but I'm not taking this because it's looking rangy now. A couple of people said I'm in very deep limit order trying. Yeah, that's the only answer to do. Trouble is, my guess is now there's a good chance it may come up and get that because I've noticed now it's going sideways. It didn't look so much on here where I was going to enter, but I'm kind of glad I didn't get in it now because I have a feeling it's going to break above here. And if it does, so you've still got those orders 92.5. My guess is that's going to get stitched up for sure. You could say 1, 2, 3 triple test. I prefer it to break above there. So there is strong buy orders down here. Yeah, as good. Down here at 80. So if we can get a decent entry, I think there's a fair chance price will get down there. So one leg up, two leg up. See what happens here now. I would much prefer it to get above there. It's large again. By the time that's finished, we're into the midline there. There's not much space left. No, it was tempting. Trouble is, I'm going short there, right into that midline. There's not much space to the lows. It's just a bit too large, so just not enough space to those lows with a couple of points. It looks like it's going to work, but trouble is, it's very close to that liquidity. So I ummed and ahed there. I very nearly got in there, but if it would have closed a little bit further up, I'd have had a go at that. But yeah, there it goes, leg and a leg. It's one of those times, isn't it? Stu, how you doing? On Apex PA accounts, can we trade minis and micros interchangeably? Because I saw that's all about the rules. Yes, I believe you can. Yeah, you can. I've never heard anybody say that you can't. I know some people trade micros on some accounts. So if you got Replicanto, you can. Yeah, Marco took it. Maybe as I should have just took it. It's one of them things, isn't it? But there you go. Yeah, I've heard some people trade some of their accounts on micros and some on minis. So yes, you can do, as far as I know. Sideways. Yeah, Marco took it. I was very tempted. If it wasn't quite as big, he took it and it worked. Clearly see it's a child down with 2 attempts. My only slight question is I wanted it to break above there, and then it was, what was it, 12, 14 ticks, something like that. But yeah, Marco got in just on a limit order here. But yeah, I didn't think it was a bad trade. Trouble is, if you get a decent entry, then you expect that second move. So sometimes you may be risking slightly more, but if you possibly could take a bit more down there. So we got a channel down there with a correction, 2 pushes to a new low. Now, I think there's a good chance this may continue down lower. So let me just possibly something like that. Yeah, if it just finished a little bit less sizey, I'd have had a go at it. What was it like on here? 3 points. That's better. That was a better risk. The bar looked a bit better as well. It pushed down a bit further there. I was just looking at this at the time. It's you snooze, you lose. It's just kind of the way it is. Yeah, I mean, we've had days where when all the stuff came in with initially with Trump and the tariffs, the ATR was 8, 9, 10, 12, 14. So really, you kind of, I think lots of us moved over to minis, micros. I think I was trading 3 or 4 micros, something like that. So yeah, you can do it. Yeah, absolutely. People swap and change, don't they? I mean, if you're looking at trading micros, that tells me you're quite sensible. Yeah. So yeah, I won't worry about it. You'll be fine. Igor, how you doing, buddy? Yeah, so if you took that one there, to me, that's congested. It triggered you, stopped you out. I'd just much prefer it had pushed up a couple of ticks and I'd have had a go at that. Excuse me a sec. Okay. So channel down, nice couple of legs up, 2 legs down. Market does seem to be moving quite nicely at the moment. It's relatively straightforward to read. We got this move down. We got 2 nice legs up, measured move down, more or less anyway. I haven't measured it, but I'm guessing it's kind of thereabouts. Let's add some color back to that again. Oh, that's way too much. 50. I thought I said 5. So, market generally picks off some of this liquidity. So if we get a leg and a leg, that would go above these 2 levels here. So channel break, new high. Trying to figure out where this is going. I wouldn't want to go shorty at the moment because as we've had that channel break, 2 pushes to a new low, you've got to give a little bit of space here. Ben, how was your weekend? Lance aware, really good, mate. It was brilliant, actually. It was just nice. First time I've ever been away in 17 years without my daughter. 17 now, so she stayed here with a boyfriend, and we had a couple of people stopping in on them. but it's the first time me and my wife have been away by ourselves, and it was really nice. Had some nice meals. Just had a nice drink. Walking around Winchester's, just sitting in a couple of the lovely little pubs was just stunning. I'll show you a quick photo that you might. I did post it on the Facebook group, but uh, Winchester is is a stunning place. It is. I lived there for 2 years when my stepfather was in the army at the time, and we moved back up to Shrewsbury, where we are now. My sister met a guy and stayed there. But it's a kind of university sort of city. It's very kind of white middle class. It's just got a lovely feel to it. Have a look. It's just some beautiful place and beautiful old buildings. You know, there's pubs 500-600 years old, and you know, bars, whatever you want to call them, inns or whatever they used to be called. I'll show you that one. Yeah, that place there we went in. It's a Greek restaurant now, but it's absolutely stunning. I think it's 570 years old, something like that. But you've got all these oak beams. There's 2 levels. There's a great big, massive fireplace there. And there's a big square. This bar is a big square. You can see all the wine here and all these big kind of, I think they're fake flowers, but you can see all the oak beams. There's 2 levels, so you can go up some little windy steps kind of behind where I'm taking the picture and walk along here. It's just stunning. And when you're in a building like that with such history, you have a couple of drinks and you kind of start thinking about history and stuff. We just had a really nice weekend. I felt super relaxed. You know, I enjoy spending time because me and my wife, most of our life, you know, for the last, oh, absolutely, yeah. For the last 17 years, we've been kind of spending all our time in and around my daughter, you know, our daughter. So it's kind of really nice. Kind of felt like a couple of teenagers again, if you know what I mean. So it was just a nice weekend all round. Thank you, mate. But I can't tell you how important it is to get a break from trading. Trading, because of the emotional side of it, kind of feels like it takes over your life, and it's very easy to just eat, sleep, and breathe trading. But I had such a good weekend away. I'm going to try and do it every other month. Just get away for a long weekend because it doesn't half make you feel refreshed. I mean, I went from being quite stressed on the Friday to Saturday just feeling super relaxed. And then we went out with my sister on Saturday night, went to a nice curry house, had a nice Indian and a few drinks. And then we went round to their house on Sunday, and my sister cooked, and we had a few more scotches and a right laugh, and it was just all round a great weekend. And you know, when you have a nice time, you come back and you feel a bit down, don't you, for the first couple of hours? But 100% you need a break. Yeah, you do. Trading it isn't like a lot of jobs. There is a lot of emotions involved. I mean, even if you learn to manage them, you still kind of feel them, but you just learn to manage them. So it is important to take a break just to get away from it. I mean, even when I have a day off here or there, you're still thinking about trading, aren't you? It's hard. It's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to get away from it. But yeah, so we're going to do it again in, I think we may go a few days before Christmas, do a bit of Christmas shopping. But I haven't been to Cambridge or York for years. Same again, 2 beautiful towns. So we might have a weekend away there doing a bit of Christmas shopping, maybe, you know, mid-December, something like that. Yeah, drunk some nice Scotch. In fact, we took a bottle with us, a nice 10-year-old Glenfarclas that I bought before. And we drank all of that, I think, over the 3 days. We can get through some Scotch, me and my wife can. I mean, we'll go for a week not having a drink, and then we'll polish off a bottle in a couple of nights. But yeah, nice. And in Winchester as well, we stopped right in the centre at like a travel lodge, and literally you look out your window and the little centre. It's a beautiful little street, and they have like these markets, all different types of food markets and stuff. They was doing Indian food, Mexican food. There was big German sausages. There was kebabs and just loads of different. They have a kind of big mix. They're big eaters down there. You can tell that they love eating out. There's some stunning restaurants there, some expensive ones as well. What's it's got a restaurant there? Who's the fish guy? Famous fish restaurant. Rick, something or other. I can't think now. But yeah, it's a big eating city. There's just food everywhere, so it's kind of nice actually. What is going on here? Is this thing coming up or coming down? So we've had a channel down here with a break, 2 clear pushes to a new low, channel up, break, new high, lower high, then down. Aim to retest this. A little double bottom here. So at the moment, I really don't know. Not sure what is going on here. So Thomas Wade has put this. I think I put this about 5 minutes ago, but it hadn't hit this level there. Just wondering whether you're best off putting it from there. Fit the bottom a bit. Trouble is, it's still just a little bit early just to trust that. I'd like to see 2 legs up here and, trouble is it could be going just as sideways as down. So this looks like there's going to be liquidity there, you can bet. So if it gets above there, it may get above there. Excuse me, just a sec. I just got to pass it. I think. Wait a second. Okay, sorry about that. Parcel I've been waiting for. So, is this a second leg down? Kind of looks like it. So, bookmap orders at about 82. Channel break new low. See if we get 2 legs up here. Yeah, I think there's a chance we could end up having that, and price will come down to the lows at some point. So, ideally, I want to trap a higher low or something here, really. So, quick look at bookmap. You can see there's orders there at around about 82. Yeah, just below 82 now. So 82, that would get us up to around, well, there we go. That's got us, it's picked off those orders now. There are some more there about 84. So we'll see. Does bookmap really help you? Because I found market reacts. What it does is it helps me stay out of trade. So if I'm looking to do a short here, but I'm a bit unsure, and if I look on bookmap and right above where my stop's going to be, there's a load of orders, a lot of time price will get to those orders. So it may trigger me and stop me. So that's, I kind of use it more to keep me out of a trade. Now, I'm by far an expert, but all I do is have a look at it now and again, see where the passive orders are and see if market gets to them. And majority of the time it does. So if I can say there's strong orders, so let's say I'm thinking about, let me have a look here, let me find an example. So let's say I'm thinking about taking a trade here and I can see a load of orders just above there. It may trigger me, which it did, and push up and take them out. And then there was orders there. That's why I put that line and that reacted. So I use it mainly. I mean, at the time I was looking to trade here, but on this side, it didn't look like a little channel here. That's where it was there. It looked like it was moving up. So that's the trade I was looking at. Now, it would have gone down a couple of points, but no more. But then when I looked at this chart, you can clearly see now it's capping off there and there. So it does help me stay out of a trade. I can see more orders here, see, and they've pushed up some more. So all I do is look at it, see where these passive orders, and then keep an eye on the market. And if 90% of the time, if I see strong orders, and it'll go to it, then it helps me make better decisions. So it's kind of trial and error, but I do find it has saved me some losses. So if I'm looking at this at the moment, there are some orders here. Now, the darker these reds, the more orders there, the lighter the colour, like the blacks, there's very little orders, slightly lighter, slightly darker, sorry, and then yellow, and then the deep reds. So at the moment, there are some orders here, here, and down here. So for me at the moment, there are more orders lower than price now. So my gut feeling is it may get to some of these areas. But my gut, you can see it went up towards there and up towards there again. So my guess is it's probably going to continue down. Now, it might not mean yet. We may, do a bit of sideways. We may come back and clear out some of this liquidity. But my gut feeling is, based on what I can see, it's more likely going to continue down. Yeah, I mean, as I say, I'm not an expert on it. I understand the basic functions with it, but it's kind of looking at it and thinking, can it help me? And if you see a pattern emerging, I definitely tell you now, it has kept me out of trades that I would have lost. So That's why I have it. I don't have it on the chart. I have it on a different screen. So it's not something I'm looking at every 5 minutes, but I just like to know. That's why, you see, I put this line here. There was liquidity there. Price went straight up to it, hit it and came down. There was liquidity here. Price went up to it, hit it. So, you know, these areas that I do mark off do seem, for the most, seem to get targeted. So it just, with looking at that and looking at current price, it gives me kind of a maybe 75% of a picture on what I should do. The other 25% is, you know, nothing's foolproof, is it? You know, we need to kind of learn our skills. So just get it, watch it. It's free. It's just, I watch it on YouTube. You can actually pay for the software. It's probably a couple of seconds behind. But you know, if I see price up here, a couple of seconds aren't going to make a difference. So I do find it saves me money. No, I don't even, I don't pay for it, mate. I just use the free YouTube version. If you type in Bookmap ES live, and that's what it is, you can see it's currently live. It's, I think, a few seconds behind. Price is at 85 at the, let's have a look. I've stopped it. Let me just, I think I must have hit play. So price at the moment is around about the 3.5. Let's have a look. 4,425. So yeah, there's a few seconds difference, but if I see price aiming towards this, 2 or 3 seconds aren't going to make a difference. So we're getting close to some orders sat at 85. So at the moment, it's just generally looking a little bit rangy, isn't it? So it's, but when we push down and we're down here, if I see strong orders here, chances are that's going to give us a pullback. And if it does come to where we go, if I decide to get in down here and I see orders up here, I'll leave them alone. Now I can see that relatively sizey on mine, so it might only look small when you're looking at the screen. So just get it up and have a look. Just see if it helps you. But I think it's best for me personally. Just it helps me more when to stay out. If I'm getting in maybe a little bit too premature. So channel break, new high, lower high. There are orders above and there are orders at 77. So at the moment, I'm leaving alone. And part of the reason I'm leaving alone is because I know there's liquidity up here. There, big bar, semi-bearish bar there, and maybe one here. So my gut feeling is if I just look at that, 86.75, let's drag in Bookmap and see if there's anything at 86.75. There was. It's just hit them. There was some orders here. You can see it's gone black. The orders have got picked up. So it had a quick spike up and got to that area. So strong orders at about 78 down here. So my gut feeling is this is probably going to go down. There's still some up there at 90. But I think that's too far away. Now, there will be liquidity up here. And is this 290? No, it's lower, isn't it? 290 is up here. So there isn't much in the way of liquidity above there. So if we get a lower high here, trouble is it's starting to rattle around a bit now. So let's put that there. So we got a channel up there. Okay, so that may get to 90. It's hard to say. It's starting to get a bit of an erratic picture now. So I know there's orders there. All I'd mainly be interested in is getting above there where that liquidity is. That video I mentioned yesterday talks a lot about liquidity and how. So it's pushed above there and there. For me, that was important. May get above there. I don't know. 90's here. So if we get up to there, that would be a leg and a leg as well. So I didn't think it would get that high, but it looks like it may. Let's see if it does. We know there are orders up there. If there's sellers up there saying if price gets to here, I'll sell because it's above liquidity. Generally, price is coming back. We know price comes down and then pushes up and clears out liquidity, ready for its next move down. That video I mentioned yesterday, watch it. It's brilliant. It talks about how institutions use liquidity. It's brilliant. It's a must watch for any trader. I'll get it up just in case no one saw it, but it's an absolute must. You might have watched it. That's it there, Richard. I'll bring it in. That's it there. I'll share it with you again. Stop loss rules, how to place them correctly. Does give you a really good understanding of how institutions work. So let me just share it. Copy. Watch it. Trust me, you won't regret it. Paste it. There we go. That's the definitely well worth a watch. So okay, so Bookmap identified orders up here. I didn't think it would get that high. I thought it would target these areas, but hey presto, look at that. Look what it's doing. It's doing exactly what Bookmap was showing that it may do. It was aiming towards orders. So it's got very, very close to it. It's a tick away. See if it hits those orders. So yeah, all I try and do is identify where the orders are and see if price moves towards them. And if it does enough times, that is, you know, something in your armor that you can use for whatever purpose, where it, you know, whether it's to get into an order or whether it's to get into a position or whether it's to avoid a position. Trouble is, when we use such tight stop losses, it's hard to get a big long move because, as we know, channel down 2 pushes up, price overlaps itself, so it's pushed up, cleared out liquidity. There, cleared all that out. You know, stopping people holding positions. That's assuming stops are there. But I mean, if you're going to go for a bigger move, really, you need larger stops. You know, maybe if you entered a position here, you may put a stop up here, right out the way, and there's your risk, and then your reward might be down here towards these lows. So, for instance, this is an example. If I was looking at taking a short there on the left chart, that bar there, a short, thinking we've had a breakout the downtrend, let's go short here. If I looked at Bookmap and saw orders at 90, where are those orders? Right where my stop is. There's my stop. That's where I went short. So if I see orders above where my stop is, I avoid the trade. And there you go. That would have stopped me out. Now, channel break, 2 pushes to a new high. Channel down, we've had a break. We're looking for shorts, aren't we? That's what a lot of traders are thinking. So they go short there. I have a quick look on Bookmap, realise there are short orders, passive orders sat at 90, right where my stop is. I've avoided it. Hey presto, I've saved myself a loss. You see Mac marked a red short on the next bar. And the blue long yesterday. I to be honest with you, mate, it's usually UK time. It's usually around about midnight. He puts it on. So sometimes if I've gone to bed early, sometimes I'll check my phone and watch it half asleep or just find out what is marked. So I'll have another look later. Now you mentioned that. So, you know, if you're not sure about stuff and you say, we've got a channel down here and it looks like 2 legs up, we've broken above liquidity, I could probably take a short here. If you look on Bookmap and see a bunch of orders right above where your stop's going to be, avoid it. And that would have avoided a loss there, see? So it saves me getting into bad trades sometimes, and it's only got to save you once in a blue moon, and you've saved a chunk of money. So what I will say is we've had this move down, we've had a correction, we've had maybe a few more legs down. There's no guarantee this thing's going to continue down. Sometimes all of a sudden it'll turn around and aggressively move up. My guess is we've got overnight lows here, so you would expect this to play a part. So if I move that left, hey presto, there we go. We're kind of, you'd expect to stumble here, but then it may go up to here, which was a big support level. That may come resistance. But then the trouble is this, I'm getting mixed pictures a bit now, mixed signals. It's quite sideways. It looks like it's going down, but for me, it's not super clear. So I'm not looking for a short just at the moment. I'm giving this a bit of space to find out what's going on. I'm also looking just to see if there's a different channel that I might have missed. That could be the case, in which case that break may not be too bad. But at the moment, it's a bit messy. So the best thing to do, I think, at the moment is just to make a cup of tea or put your feet up. I so nearly took that. I really did. Channel down with a couple legs. I know Marco, a bunch of people. The bar was just a little bit too big. I'd have preferred it to close here. So tick above it, tick below it. You're risking 4 points there. Now on this chart, it looked much better and the risk was less as well. That was it there. I think the risk was, that's why it's useful to have another one. The risk, I think, was about 3 points. So if we go a tick above it, about there. So yeah, you're risking about 3 points, give or take, maybe 3.25. 3.25. It's less of a risk there because there's a slight difference. Move down. That looked a little bit cleaner than this. It's still a bit choppy, but you could fade that as a break. You could trade it as a fade breakout. I'd prefer it to have gone a little bit higher above here and then close just below that EMA. Gone a little bit too far for me. If I'd have been looking at this chart there, I'd have had a go at that because the risk was a point less. Trouble is, you've got to have eyes everywhere at the moment and things move that quick. You don't have a lot of time. This looks like a spike and channel on this chart. So now I am channel break. I'm just going to sit tight here. I'm not sure what's going on. Yeah, if I have one more profitable day, I can get another $3,500. 16, 16.5, 17.5, 18, 19.5. So that may make me 20,000 for the month. Now, that sounds like a great month, but that month really has got to be divided over the last 4. So that would still be $5,000 a month, which doesn't sound too bad. You could probably shave 1,000 off that per month for fees. So 4,000. It's not terrible. It's not terrible. I get some affiliate money, not a huge amount of affiliate money, maybe $500 to $700 a month on average. So it all helps. And that's based on only really 10 accounts. If you add 20 accounts, or you can have a lot more than that now. If you look at Nutty, he could have 30 accounts on the go. Now, I did have a chat with him a week and a half ago, and he trades all his accounts on Rhythmic. On Tradeovate, and he says he never has problems. Occasionally, you get a ghost order on NinjaTrader because of Rhythmic, but as long as you know how to identify it and what to do, you're okay. But I didn't take that because I needed more room to the lows. Yeah. At the moment, it's a bit hard to know exactly what's going on. Is this pushing back up? This bit was relatively clear. We had two nice clear legs up, and then we had two nice clear legs down. And if you look in the middle, we have a leg down, a correction, and a leg down. It's nice when the market works like that. And then all of a sudden, is that a break? And then a new low, kind of, maybe. And then we have this move up, and you think maybe come down and test this. I'm thinking a second leg down, but then we have this. If you think we had that quite a steep move down, this one wasn't so steep, and a lot of it was sideways. So maybe we're testing this area. You think this would be a natural area where you would find some resistance? So I just don't know what's going on at the moment. Yeah, someone's just mentioned overshoot. Actually, I'm just looking at that now. You can see this spiking channel and a small overshoot there. Now, often when you get an overshoot, most of you know this, often when you get an overshoot, sometimes it'd come back, make a new high and drop like a stone. Sometimes it'll make a bigger correction and push up. Other times it'll just completely reverse. Other times it pushes up strong and there's something a bit steeper. But when we get an overshoot, if we had a second entry long now, I would avoid that. Because often when you've had an overshoot, if you do look to continue long, it can trap you a little bit. Just take a photo of what you said there, Russell. I'm going to go back and have a look at that later. Mark red short on the next one. Blue out. So look at that later. Yeah, if I can get a profitable day today, if I can hit $200, well, no, technically I can. I've got 3 accounts which are 2.9, 3,000, 2.9.5. So even if I get a $50 day, I can take a withdrawal. If I get a $150 to $200 day per account, I can draw $3,000 tomorrow. So that would put me close to the $20,000 for the month. That sounds all good and well, but because I blew my accounts a few months ago, it took me a while to build them back up. So hence no payments for a few months. So, but it goes to show you if you can control yourself. Sometimes when you get a bit of money as well, and you get a decent payment, you do tend to relax and take your foot off the gas a little bit. You take a couple of risky trades, and then you get a bit of a slap down, back down to earth. So, yeah, it's hard to know what's going on, but looking at Bookmap, seem to be more orders higher up now. There's not so much down here. There's some at 95, which may mean we come down and test this line, which would make sense. And then there are orders up at 900, 902, 903, and a bit higher. So the highest I can see there is probably maybe 904.05, which is probably the top of this. So my guess is we got a little double tap of that midline. We may get a couple of legs back, test the lows again, pick up some more of these orders, and then continue on. So Thomas Wade has just put this, which I don't think is that bad actually. So yeah, possibly. I prefer that more there, I think. I still expect this to test this line here. And part of the reason I see that is because I can see there's orders there at 95, which is right on the button there. Actually, it's a couple of ticks up from there. But as we're at the top of this possible channel, you'd naturally think now, we got up here and went a bit sideways. When we had a push up, you'd probably get some buyers. So often this will come down and clear liquidity, and by pushing to that level and taking that out, you're probably going to take out some buy stops, and also you're going to have some orders down here to pick up as well. It may even push below there. Now, there are no guarantees, of course, but the more I watch this and the more it actually does perform these moves where I expect, it does start to give you a little bit of trust in using Bookmap along with your kind of normal platform. I'm not sure about this really. To get a second opinion, but if we had 2 legs down there, nice 2 legs and a strong bounce off here, second entry long, I'd probably have a go at that. Those orders they are down as much as about 93, which is there, which is right where that EMA is. Now, at the time, if it does pull back, it may pull down and touch that EMA. So if it does touch that, pick up some orders, and we have a couple of legs, I'd have a go at that a bit higher. Okay, that second chart, that looks much cleaner. So I'm going to go with that. It looks much cleaner. We've got a touch there, touch there, touch there, touch there. Much cleaner, that is. So if we can get a little tick above there and then down, that may give us a second entry. Now, I thought that might trigger there because it's a bullish bar off that line. It didn't actually, but nevertheless. So it's picked up some of those orders. There are more orders there, stronger orders. If you look at that, deep red there, couple of ticks above there. So roughly, there's nothing much below. So roughly 93. So hopefully this may, if this it may trigger above this and then come down and give us that second leg. But I expect there's a good chance that get hit. Nearly, it's getting close to it. It wouldn't, for me, I'd like it to push below there, which I think it will, because there's probably going to be a few traders going along from there. And at the moment, the lowest is in line with that. So if it breaks below there, it may have that couple of tick push just to pick those orders up. So let's see if Bookmap is right. I'd like to tick above one of these. That would give us the first entry. It doesn't look like it's going to, does it? So that's where those orders are. So if this does trigger, let's say this bar triggered and we had a little second entry long. I was tempted to go long there. I wouldn't, because I can see these orders. So you see that bullish bar, although it's got a bit of red, it's still bullish. It's triggered. Now, I wouldn't take that as because it's a bit too far from the EMA. It's floating in the middle of this. So my guess is it's going to trigger that and come down. Now, there are no guarantees, but based on what I'm looking at, that will give us the first leg, break, and then a new low. So I'm going to put that there like that. You never know if there's enough aggressive buyers, and there are at the moment. You can see those aggressive buyers. There's more of them. There's 3 odd million opposed to 2 odd million. So if there's enough aggressive buyers, they'll drive the price up. but I'm hoping it stalls and these even out. They're both around the 2 million now, which would bring this down. Stop out that, and this, and then pick up these orders down here around about 93. Now, there are no guarantees. As I say, if these climb up, they'll push price higher. But I'm hoping, little channel down there with a break, we make a new low, which is perfect. Break below there, give us that few tick momentum to pick up these orders. That will give us a nice 2 legs down. I'd have a go at there because you can see orders at 900 and 902, which are up here. So plenty of room to the highs and above. That 900, where those orders are, is above there. So 2 legs down and a push. I just hope it comes back. Sometimes it doesn't, but at least that book map gives you a picture of what could happen. And if it does come down here and gives you 2 legs and a lot of buy orders down here, then you can ride that up or take a trade there. So it'll just help you make better decisions. I wouldn't take a trade here. See, it's a bit vague, but there are going to be traders thinking we've had a break. Let's go long. But what I can see there is a little channel. Much premature to get in here. Way too early to get in there. You're going to get caught out. So if it comes down low, breaks below there, it'll likely pick up those orders, stop out those who are a little bit premature. So I'm going to get an order ready. Now, what I will say is it's broke below that bearish bar there, but for me, while those orders are sat down there at 93, I'm not going to get in here no matter how good this looks. Now, that is a second entry long. Granted, you are trapping shorts there, but the reason I'm leaving it is because there are big buy orders down here. And if you watch that trader, is his name Michael Paul or something Paul? He's sadly not with us. He said on numerous occasions, talking about inexperienced traders, if you put your buy order where your stop would be, see what happens, and that will be the case. You jump in here, you put your stop here, comes down, hits your stop, takes you out. If you put your order down here instead of it, it comes down, picks up your order, pushes up. So, but while those orders are there, and you can still see them down there just above 92, it might be 92 and 3/4, 92 and 3/4, 93, somewhere around about there. But once those get absorbed and we get a strong signal bar, that will be 2 legs down, strong signal bar. Picked off this liquidity, and that for me would give us a good option to go long. I was a bit unsure about this channel, but on this side it looks much neater. So we just need to come down. So we got a channel down there with a break. We just need a new low. Once we get below this bar, these 2 bars here, that'll give us a new low, and there is liquidity there, and there will be here as well, because I guarantee there'll be buyers there. We're nearly there. Once we hit that one, there we go. So those are roughly at 93. I did say maybe 92 and 3/4. Still not ready to take a trade here. That doesn't look too bad. Those orders are still there. It's very tempting, isn't it? That is. But what I will say is that's cleared out any liquidity there. Yeah, I prefer this to come down here just a touch more. There's your first leg with a break, and there's a new low. It has made a new low, but that's what I mean. If I decide to take a trade here and look at Bookmap, and Bookmap show me there's a large amount of orders just below my order, and you can see it is one tick below there on that left chart. It's one tick below there. You can see it. There's the orders, one tick below there. I actually don't think that's bad, actually, to be honest with you. You could say a small range, but because Bookmap kind of saves me a lot of the times, I'm just going to sit tight here. But I don't think it's terrible to take a trade here. It is a second entry long. There is 2 legs down. It's kind of in not a bad position. But on this chart, it just doesn't look great. But yeah, a couple of people said they're going to need a higher low. Yeah, higher low is a better option. But with those orders down there, I'm just a little bit... it does look like it's pushing up. So that's what I mean. It doesn't always work, but we got one tick off it. And it missed those orders. Sometimes it doesn't take them. It depends. If there's enough aggressive buyers buying there, they can push it up. Trouble is, you couldn't have taken it on here anyway. Only slight concern though, even if I'd have took that, if you look on here, it's a little bit sideways. That is not in a bad position, I don't think, but that's taken us to the top comfortably. It may decide to come down a little bit lower. So looking at Bookmap now, those orders are still there, and there's slightly more. Man, it's pretty even at the moment. If that goes up there, there's enough aggressive buyers, it'll push up. We've just had a quick flick down there. So I think I made the right decision not to take that. Because as I say, it's got us to the top, but all of a sudden it's turned over and come straight back down. Now, at the moment, it's holding in the top part of it. But it's clearly sideways. We've come down, across. What happens next? Down, down, across, and down. So my guess is I still think price will come below there. Now, if I'd have taken that trade, Mac will say they're okay to take as long as you've got enough space at the top. I don't think there is. I mean, it went up 0.75, so you'd have got a 0.5 it, but I wouldn't have wanted to trade that at the moment. It's a bit... what's happened, although that's triggered and now it's still ranging, which tells me it still may come down and pick off those orders. Afternoon just got rained off, Lance. Bet you don't miss that. No, I don't, mate. I got a video of me somewhere. I think it's on YouTube, doing some footings, and it was about well, I say footings, but use the pun. There was about a foot of water, and what I was doing, I was pointing it. I was walking backwards in the trench. It was a thin trench like this, full of water. I was walking back and pointing, and there was a brick or something under the water I didn't see, and I tripped on it and fell arse first in a trench like this, and I was wedged in. I couldn't get out because it was a thin trench like this, and as I fell, I literally said, mate had to just yank me out. I'd had enough. I just went, that's it, I'm going home. So no, I don't miss that. I do kind of miss the sunny days. It's nice, when you kind of, you're up on the scaffold and you've got a nice view and it's a nice sunny day. It can be nice. Muck's nice. It's just, it is nice when you get those days. When you're on a nice gable end or something like that and the sun's baking down on you. But yeah, weather's an issue. Rain's an issue, isn't it? It's all right if it's spitting a bit. You can get away with it. But the trouble is if it gets too heavy, your compo turns to soup and you just... and it's kind of a balancing act as well to make sure you've got enough compo, but not too much. So we probably went home half a day every week because we run out of compo and never turned up on time. So yeah, So there is a higher low there, but to me, it's still ranging here, and I don't like what's happening here. This, to me, doesn't look like it's finished coming down. I think this is going to have a quick flush down in a minute. You'd have made some money out of that, I think. See, I go for 3 points. So if I'd have taken that one, I may not have hit my target there. It depends. There's a big bearish bar. This is bound to flush down, I think. That might be 2 legs. We've still got these orders down here. If we come down there, clear out the liquidity, pick up those orders, then it may continue up. Well, there are no guarantees. I don't miss bricklaying to be. I just found it therapeutic. I did. Just, you know, that scrape of the sound of the bricks, the little tap, clearing your sides of the brick off. I found it therapeutic. I did. Just the sounds makes me sound a bit weird, doesn't it? Let's see if it picks these up. It's bound to be stopped below there. Bound to be. So I would be doing that now. Leg down, and look at that. Look where that leg finishes. Right where those orders are, in fact. Might be a touch below there. No, actually, that would probably be there, really, I think. Leg and a leg. If it breaks down here, you can bet your bottom dollar there's going to be stops below there. And once we break them stops, that will give us a little bit of downward momentum. And that, from there, will push us down 3 ticks, if that works, to that perfect measured leg down there. So one, we'd have a perfect measured leg. So we'll see. I've still got my, what's it down here? I'm just going to...
Order cancelled.
Here we go. So there'll be some stops there, guaranteed. And below here. Trouble is, if this is a break, we've made 2 attempts to push higher, so there's always a possibility this could turn in the other direction. Okay, we're ready for that quick move down. Boom. One more tick. That'll let some stops there, you can bet. Yeah, it's not quite as dramatic as I was expecting. Sometimes they're a little bit lower. Okay, there's that little spike I was thinking now. You can see now those orders were taken there. There are a few more down below, so they may try and drag price down, but I'd expect at this level these aggressive buyers to start pushing up. It's hard to say. As I say, we've had a break and 2 attempts to push higher, so, you know, buyers may give up to a degree. It's hard to say, but it did what I expected it to do based on what I was looking on Bookmap. So Bookmap does give you a chunk of a puzzle. Right what I expected. And look where price is doing now. It's holding right on there. So we need a good solid bullish bar, really, and then possibly a higher low. So we may have a leg up with a correction and then a second leg up. Fact. Yeah, see, I'm not going to say his name because I don't want to embarrass anyone, but I've got a picture of a trader in front of me who went long there. That's the beauty of having Bookmap. If he'd have went long there, that's That's what I say where Bookmap helps me stay out of trades. I could see there was a chunk of orders down there, and you could see it because I've shown you. So taking along here, it triggered, came straight down, stopped you out. So I'll show you the trade. I won't show you his, but because it's unfair, I think, really. But you can see he's gone long there, and it's triggered him and come down. We know it's stopped out, so it's just one of them things. But Bookmap does help me. As you've seen now, if I keep showing you, maybe it'll help you. So, leg and a leg. Now, there's not that many orders down here now, so could push up still. I would have to wait for a higher low now. So, 2 legs down. Comfortably, we need a higher low now. How can I learn Bookmap? There's loads of videos out there. All you really need to know, but you want to watch a few videos. So there's orders here. Let me just give you a quick 2-minute, quick minute thing. So you can see these colors here. We've got black, very dark. We've got slightly lighter. We've got yellow. We've got light yellow. We've got darker yellow. And then we've got this deep red. The darker the color, the more passive orders. So if I stuck an order up here, a limit order, short limit order, that would be on here or part of it. So what you'll find is with these passive orders, price, as we know, general understanding of trading, price moves towards liquidity. In other words, if I've got an order down here saying, if you come down here, I'll buy to go up. Generally, price moves towards liquidity. Now, that is part of the picture. You can see the passive orders. They've not taken yet. It's just me saying, I've got £1 here for a tin of beans. If you want to sell me it, I'll buy it. Now you've got this side as well. Up top right here, you've got aggressive. See, there's some aggressive buyers now. So you've got aggressive buyers and aggressive sellers. So if I think price is going to come down to pick up these buyers, but all of a sudden we have aggressive buyers before we get there, it'll drive price up. So you've got to kind of use the two. But if I'm looking for, say, a short here, and I can see a ton of sell orders right above where my stop is, then I'll avoid the trade. So the best thing to do is to look at this and then look at price and just see if they kind of work together. And these kind of bubbles here are aggressive buyers and sellers. You can see there was a chunk of aggressive sellers there, then some aggressive buyers, and then some smaller aggressive sellers. But there are videos, but I don't use it to its full extent. All I like to do is know, and if I take a long gear, have I got a ton of buy orders below where my stop is? In other words, am I making a mistake? So you can pay for it and adjust things, but I just watch the free version because I don't trade it kind of real time. All I want to know is, you know, are there orders? If I was, you see this long here, you may think 2 legs down, let's go long. But then you could see there was a lot of orders below there, so you'd have to avoid that. So it is useful. And there's that, you know, the trader I just mentioned who took the long there. I didn't take that long because I had orders down here, or I could see clearly orders down here. So it's hard to know what's going on here at the moment. There is a possible higher low, but prices are below the EMA at the moment, so I'm not sure whether this thing is tried twice to get up and it's struggling, and now all of a sudden buyers have dropped, and then it's got more chance of coming down. So until it gets above that EMA and preferably above this, I think longs are looking doubtful at the moment, I think. Prices are kind of a little bit stagnant, aren't they? What time is it now? I'm just going to take a quick 5-minute break. I need to go to the toilet, and I want to go and get myself another drink. So let me just check I've got no orders sat there. So I'm just going to leave you with that. Just going to pop this on the chart so you can see I'm just taking a break. So I'll be about 5 minutes. Quick bathroom break and a cup of tea. fact, there is a second entry short here. My gut feeling is this is coming back down now, so interested to see what happens to that when I get back. So I'll be around about 5 minutes. Okay, price did come up. It hasn't made a new high yet, but uh, yeah, you should do. I'm not using them at the moment. Well, I'm not an affiliate with them anymore. I've just said I don't want to be an affiliate. They annoyed me. So that's personal with me anyway. So I'm not saying don't take them. It's not. I don't know why you don't, Karina. I don't know why you don't start. Would you not stream, Karina? I think you'd be good at it. There is quite a few women streamers out there, isn't there? So leg and leg. Is this going to trap some shorts and push up again? It's hard to say. Always be doing something like that. It's always possible. Push up with a leg and a leg. Yeah, I would leave take profit trader if you're a newer trader, because I think it's about $105. Now, if you fail it, it's an expensive evaluation. I would stick to cheap ones, your Bolonoxes and your Apex and stuff if you're a newer trader. But if you can hold an account, you know, and there's a good chance you'll pass it, then it becomes cheaper than to pass. Well, cheaper than any to pass, really, if you can do it. We've got a matching high there. I'm just going to put that there like that. This is going a little bit sideways at the moment. So I don't know what's going on here. Too many companies. One new each. Yeah. I get a payment in a couple of days. I'm going to. I think I'm going to get some. I might. There's Lucid Trade, and I hear some quite good things about Lucid. The thing I like about Lucid, which it's more or less identical to Traderify, but Lucid, you get the first $10,000, whereas Traderify, I've had 8,000 out of them so far. Traderify, you lose 10%. It's not a great thing, but I may get a couple of Lucid and a couple of this other company I mentioned, Top Funded something or other. Okay, so channel with a break. Now I'm not going long here. I'm not going short. Now we've had this move up. We've had a correction, and we've had a matching high. So I'm not sure what's going on here at the moment. It's a little bit up and down. So maybe we've made a few attempts to push up. We have kind of bounced twice off that center line, that midline. So it's hard to know exactly what's going on here. It could be something like that. Could be a move up. 2 attempts to go lower. If we can get some strong rejection here, then I think 2 attempts to go lower, then we may get another move up. They're quite broad, those legs. But to get that, for me, it would have to break below that big bar there. to get close to this, which is going to, I think, it will do. There, it gets below there. There'll be liquidity there. So a couple of ticks and that'll take that out. As I say, market tends to constantly overlap. So if you'd have taken that as a higher low, went up, major profit, came down, took out, just in case you decided to hold on too long. So they look slightly different. This we've got, yeah, there we go. So that's taken a liquidity out there. So there's going to be a little bit here. If we can get to that measured move or close to it, in fact, that measured move is probably a little bit shorter. Right, that measured move is right at those lows. So if we can tick below there, be interesting to see. So you could say a channel break new low. There we go. So that's done that. Now, if you look at Bookmap, where's the strongest orders now? They're up here, 900. So if we can get a strong bar here, there's not so much here, 900, right at the top here. So I can't see strong orders below that. So it looks like a channel break new low. Let's see what happens here, really. Sometimes it'll just bounce a bit and then take off. It doesn't really give you any entry. I prefer a triple test, really. I wouldn't consider that as two touches, really. Maybe one bounce, second bounce. On this chart, this channel looks like a whole one leg down. That's the trouble. Okay, there. So there's some liquidity there. It's broken. It's hard to know. This thing may come careering down. As I say, it has made 2 attempts. Well, it's made 1, 2, 3 attempts, and it's bounced certainly twice off that midline and very close the second time. So maybe this is coming back down. Who knows? Once there's clean liquidity there, if it continues down, my guess is then it usually, that's where it usually goes. That's quite a strong move, isn't it? It's 20 points more or less straight down. I think all in all, overall, it's more or less just a range day today. Well, yeah, no, maybe not, but you can make a list of the companies. See, I suppose what you can do is just pick up a couple of them. If you get a payment with them, you've got your money back. So maybe get a couple more. I think with these newer companies, just get 1 or 2 accounts, get a payment. Once you've got your money back, some of your profits, get a couple more. So you technically haven't lost then. But I think it's a good idea to have maybe 5 of a bit of everything, 5 Apex, 5 Trader 5 My Funny Futures, 5 Take Profit, 5 Lucid. You know, you can do that and trade. You can trade 20 or 30 accounts at the same time, even trade 5 micros or something like that, small amounts. Because of the amount you've got, you can take a small risk on each one, which would really avoid you from blowing the accounts. You know, even if you can make the equivalent of a couple of $100 on all your accounts per week, if you got 20 accounts, that's $4,000 a week. You know, the potential is there with just a small risk. That's what that Roderick Caskell guy talks about. I think he said he has 35 accounts and he trades just a small amount on each of them. They all kind of mount up. The good thing about trading them like that is if you're only risking 2 or 3%, it's a small percentage, but because you've got so many different irons in the fire, then you've got the potential to earn a good living from that with only taking a small risk. So I think that's not bad way you're looking at things. It's hard to know what's going on at the moment. No, altogether. See, I think that's the whole idea with having multiple accounts, taking a small risk on more of them rather than a bigger risk on less of them. Or I don't know, maybe you trade 20 together and then 10 together, something like that. It depends how many trades you take a day. I don't see many trades, so I don't take a lot. So I prefer to trade a smaller amount, but more of them. If I decided to trade 5 micros, that would be half of a contract. I'd probably risk in $75. But if you win $75 off of 30 accounts, that's $2,250 in a week. Just from trading, just from risking $75. If you've got 2,500 drawdown, 10%, 250, 1% is 25. You're risking 3% there. So it's a small amount to risk. You shouldn't blow accounts risking 3%. And you can still earn a nice living once you get those accounts. In an ideal world, the more you've got in the account, the more risk you can take. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'd love to have 20, 30 accounts with $10,000 in each. You could trade 1 or 2 contracts and make one hell of a nice living. Uh, okay, as it's Friday, uh, I'm going to go and pour myself just one double. I can't have too much because I've got to pick my daughter up at 10 o'clock tonight for my Halloween party. So bear with me just 1 second. I'll be back. There we go. One large singleton. Cheers, everyone. Happy Friday. Whiskey Friday. Oh. Apex is not the best this day. I tell you what, my honest opinion on Apex. Now, the reason Apex had a bit of a bad name is, and I'll tell you now, is because about a year ago, something like that, if you looked on Apex's website, they had certain rules, but they didn't police those rules. Now, all of a sudden, people were flouting the rules. I say all of a sudden, people were flouting the rules. One of the biggest contributing factors was Alpine Trader. Now, I'm not saying you can blame them if they didn't police them. It's down to them, but people were getting away with it. Now, all of a sudden, they decided to police the rules, so they had a massive payment denial, and people went mad. Now, they're not guilty of... The only thing they're guilty of is bad timing and maybe not informing people. Now, companies make mistakes. It's a fact of life. You know, some of the people, the biggest companies out there, Apple, Amazon, stuff like that, you know, occasionally Apple have a recall on a phone or something like that. They make mistakes. Apex would be better off saying, from the beginning of next month, the rules now are going to be policed. If you break a rule, you won't get paid. Now, I don't think there's nothing wrong with saying if you break a rule, you won't get paid. Because with the nature of prop firms, it's very easy to take risks. You're only risking 1/10 of the price of the actual 2,500 drawdowns. So you can gamble, get away with it, and still kind of make money. So I absolutely understand them saying that. I'm just being honest. Now, I'm not naive enough to know that companies are going to let you do whatever you want. They're out there to make a profit. If people are blatantly flouting the rule, they're well within their right to say, you've broken the rule, we're not paying you. And they will save money. It's a fact of life. Companies are always looking for ways to save money and increase profits. It's just the way life is. They're guilty of bad timing because they should have told people. Not that they were well within their rights not to, but if they'd have told people, they wouldn't have got the backlash. And that's what gave them a bit of a bad name. And unfortunately, it's like anything, bad news spreads. So that's why Apex had a rough time. But in all honesty, I've traded with Apex now for about 2.5 years. If I've broken a rule, and I did a couple of weeks ago, like I told you, I accidentally opened my accounts on 10 contracts after trading a evaluation aggressively. As soon as I did it, I closed it straight away. I think I made 2 or 3 ticks, and that was it. But when I came to put in the payment in, I had that in the back of my head. That's why I was constantly watching it, and they refused me. And they refused me for, what did they say? Something, contract risk management, something like that. And I knew. So the trick is, when that happens, is not to panic. Trade for another 8 days, which I did. Then I put an order in for $8,000. Boom, I was paid the next morning. No problem. So you have to understand that companies are there to make a profit. They're not out there to make your life better. And if you follow the rules, they'll pay you. I tell you now, I swear on my life of my daughter, if you follow the rules, you'll get paid. I knew this time I followed the rules, so I was confident I was going to get paid, and I did. So, you know, that's so... They got a bad name for that. And, you know, I understand people being annoyed, because if they're flouting the rules and getting away with it, they're bound to be. I'd have been annoyed myself. Videos and pictures. Yeah. Now, another thing as well. Now, you'll notice this. If you have Facebook or YouTube, I haven't seen too many in the last month, but there are lots of companies out there that trade for you. And that is against their rules. And I absolutely understand why. And the reason they do that is because they want to see it's you, and they don't want to see a company's trying to make money for you. Because if you've got a professional trader trading your account and making you money, if all they're going to do is be paying out to professional traders, they're not going to have any money to pay them. I'm terrible at explaining. I don't have time for bullshit. Sometimes ask for videos. Yeah, I get it, but there are companies out there trying to flout the rules, and it's like anything. We pay insurance. Now, if you have a house insurance or whatever, or car insurance, you pay insurance. Now, insurances usually go up, and a chunk of that insurance money will be covering people who flout the rules, people who pretend they've had a back injury and they haven't. So it is kind of what it is. You just have to. Now, I'm old enough and wise enough to know if you treat me right, I'll treat you right back. I don't care what the guy next door says about you. If you're nice to me, I'll be nice to you. So you have to kind of treat people how they treat you. And so far, touch wood, I haven't been treated bad with them. So I have to, base my decision. It looks like we're going to get 2 legs here. I kind of base my decision on that. But I know Apex had a bad name because of that. It's unfortunate that they did that, but it's just kind of like it is. Yeah, what he was saying is when people get a denial, they panic and, yeah, he shouldn't have said that. He shouldn't have said that. He got caught off guard there. He shouldn't have said that. That wasn't saying he's ripping people off. That was saying when people get denials, people panic. Yes, they do. We know that. But yeah, you shouldn't have said it. He made a mistake there. He got caught out. And what's flicking around here? Please tell me we ain't got no weird news here. So it's just kind of one of those things. But I treat people how they treat me. If you've not ripped me off, I won't rip you off. Channel break new low. That's tempting there if that ends up bearish. Channel break new high. I'm just going to sit tight at the moment. It's flickering around a bit. If we get a lower high, people just want. Well, that is. I don't know what's going on here, but there's some news or something because look on Bookmap, loads of orders have been yanked. Somebody's tweeted something, whether it's Trump, I'm not too sure, but you can see all this has gone blank. All these passive orders have been yanked. So there's someone's tweeted something, and he was jumping. Yeah. It was just like, yeah. I mean, you can't disagree with that. People want 20 accounts. I get it. If people have got 20 accounts, they can make a ton of money out of them. Absolutely. And cheaper valuations as well. The trouble is, I think sometimes cheaper valuations don't necessarily give you a better buy because you end up trading 2 or 3 times as many of them. So, yeah, just be a bit careful now. This thing's flickering around. There's obviously some news. I'm guessing it's Trump. He said something about someone again. He's got a habit of doing that. You can see on Bookmap all these orders. There are some up there. There's a large amount there. So. But it's all gone black, which means any passive orders people had in the market. Trump's talking about Chuck. You shouldn't do that. It can affect traders. You'll piss people off doing that, especially traders. The thing is, as a rule, we have news events and they're pre-planned. We know about them. There is a lower high there. It's looking a bit tasty, but 21 ticks, especially when it's flickering around. This looks like a channel there with a quick push up. It looks like it's recovering. But yeah, I mean, that's the whole idea of having these news items. We know when they are. For obvious reasons. It's actually not spiking too much. So I wish we know when he was. Well, maybe we do. Maybe we do know when he's going to talk. The trouble is with Trump, you never know when he's going to tweet. He's definitely a bit of a tweeter, isn't he? There is a failure there. There's going to be orders there. You can bet. The trouble is this. It's rather large, that is. The last thing you want to do is get a bit hasty on a Friday and end up taking a 4 or 5 point loss. There'd have been stops there and there. They're both gone now, so could end up getting something like that. See, got this move down here. This could be a second leg down to this area down here. I kind of expected that. I expected it around here. I didn't realise that was going to go as high as it did. But in all honesty, if you look at that, it probably only went up about 50% anyway. So from the bottom there, where did it go? A little bit above 50%. So yeah, there was a failure there, but at the moment it's flickering around, and I think the sensible thing to do when it starts flickering is just reevaluate, look at the size of the bars, and just give it a couple of minutes to see if it settles. So if we have a leg and a leg, then this second leg broken into two, I would expect to at least get down to this area here. But I would expect to pull back at these lows. There's bound to be, well, you'd have thought there'd be some profit taken here at these lows. So it may get a pullback, I don't know. But looking at bookmap, there are orders below here. You can see not a huge amount of them, but everything went black all of a sudden. You can see it there. Now they're starting to come in down here from around about 67 to 73. So all this area here. So my guess is price is going to eventually push below. Trouble is you can't just jump in because it may pull back to the EMA before it does that. So yeah, this is what I thought. There's bound to be profit taken at the lows. There are still 82.5 their orders. That would get us back to that EMA. So if we can get a second entry short here, that might not be a bad bar. The bars are settling a bit. They're not massive again. Trump said he will not start negotiations with Canada. I'm going to say, I think it's been settled with China at the moment, hasn't it? I think China are going to buy soya beans or soy, whatever it's soya beans from the US, and I think they're going to do something with the tariffs. I don't quite know exactly what the details are, but I started reading a book last night about Nigel Farage, who could well be our next prime minister, and he started his life as a trader. He traded metal futures. So really interesting character he is. I like him, I do. I've liked him for a while, and he's definitely gaining in popularity, that's for certain. I just can't stand that goggle-eyed moron we call Prime Minister now. Now, I might end up being locked up for that, but I really don't give a toss. He's an idiot. But I'm not a fan of him, to be honest with you, Keir Starmer. I didn't even like the old guy, Rishi Sunak, or Rusty Ballsack, I called him. I didn't like him much either. We need some change in this country. We need someone who's going to shake things up a little bit and who's not afraid to speak. That's the trouble with nowadays. Politicians are so scared to say a damn thing, aren't they? You know, we're losing our country, we're losing our identity, and everyone's afraid to speak up for themselves. That's interesting. Channel break new high, big bearish bar. Too big for me. I'm going to see if we get a lower high because it could trigger and push up for a second leg. It's it's only a first entry here, so a lower high is a better option for me. Say it's 18 ticks already. So it is one leg up. I prefer a lower high, just in case. If I look on Bookmap, to be honest with you, there's not much. There's some at 82.5, which is above there, but not that many. Now, if we get enough aggressive sellers, it won't come back up. There's some at 77.5, so I think this thing's probably more likely going to go down than up. But it's 18 ticks. It hasn't triggered yet anyway. I would much prefer a lower high, which I think would be a better option. Channel break, new high, bearish bar. But there are orders at 82.5, but not a huge amount of them. Where's 82.5? There, right above that bearish bar there. But that bearish bar on my chart hasn't triggered, so it may come back to that level, but there are not strong sellers there. The strongest sellers are around about the 6.5, which is down here. So, but it is going a little bit sideways, so I'm just going to sit tight here. That bar hasn't triggered anyway. I don't think it will. No, it hasn't. So, a little break above. If it picks off those orders, whoopee-doo, even better. Leg and a leg and then down again. Not only that, if it does push a bit higher, one, it'll stop that bearish bar out that's triggered, and two, it'll trigger that higher low, and we may trap some longs. Now, there is a possibility that it could go up. I don't think it will, because most of the orders are down low. No, it didn't trigger that bullish bar, which is a shame. And it's not a lower high, really. It hasn't triggered above there, and it's still a little bit sideways, so I'm just going to sit tight at the moment. There's nothing I can do there. Yeah, and digital ID as well. What a load of balls. It's just another load of wasted money. Our National Health at the moment is on its knees. I went into hospital a month ago. When I came out, I went back in a few days later with the worst head and neck pain I've ever had. I could hardly move my neck. So I went in and I saw a doctor relatively straight away. And he said to me, I think it's either a brain bleed or meningitis. And then he sent me out for 45 minutes to the waiting room. Now, when you see these programs on TV, if someone's got a potential brain bleed and meningitis, they send a bloody helicopter to them and they go straight into the emergency unit with half a dozen doctors around her. It ain't like that. So, now, just quickly, do you remember I said there are some orders there, but they're not very strong? So I don't think price is going to push above there, so I was waiting for a higher low, and that's exactly what happened. You can still see those orders up there. They're not very strong, so it didn't push up, and it did come down. I was waiting for a lower high. Unfortunately, we didn't get it, but that's what I mean. Bookmap's useful. If there had been really strong orders, it may have got up there, but as it wasn't, I think it was safe to short. Unfortunately, we didn't get a lower high. Little Hammer, how you doing, buddy? That when people vote left, in same in Spain, yeah. I don't like Starmer, to be honest with you. This thing with immigration, all this, it's ridiculous. We're putting these migrants up in 4-star hotels. They've been allowing them a certain amount of money for massages and stuff like that. It's just crazy. And then you've got people who've done 20 years and served in the army living on the streets because they can't get a house. You can't get a dentist appointment for love nor money. It takes weeks to get a doctor's appointment. The NHS is on its arse, but yet we're putting up hundreds of thousands of people in hotels using money that we've had to borrow because we can't afford it. It's crazy. Now, people come from these war-torn countries. Absolutely, they got my sympathy. But when they travel through half a dozen other safe countries first to get to the UK, that's the problem I have. Especially when they risk with young kids on a rubber dinghy, the English Channel. It's crazy. So what is going on here? So my gut feeling is Why don't they go to Dubai? I'm tempted to go to Dubai myself. In fact, Karina, if I can keep earning $10,000 per month, I might just well go. I might go by myself and leave my wife and daughter here and use that as an excuse to test the water. So we got orders down here around about the 73, which is below price at the moment, and then we got some further down here. So my guess is this is probably going to get drawn lower. The thing is, if you go to Dubai and you live, I just want a bit of excitement in my life. I do. I want a little bit of recognition for my own sanity, just to say, yes, I've worked hard and I've earned some decent money, so now I can have a bit of an exciting life. No tax in Dubai. Mind you, I think you probably need a little bit more than 10,000 a month. I think if you've got 15 to 20,000 a month, I think you can comfortably do it. If I earn £10,000 per month in the UK, that's 120,000 a year. I'd probably pay 30,000 in tax, maybe 35,000 in tax and insurance. That's around about what, $45,000, $50,000. I could live on $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 a month in Dubai quite easily, I think. So, my next step as well before Monte Carlo. I like that. You've got to have some hopes and dreams, haven't you? I love the look of. Now, most of you guys know I've told in the past I used to do some skydiving when I was a bit younger, and I've watched videos of them skydiving over the Palm and in the desert. It looks incredible, and I'd love to go out there, even just for 5 years, just to have some fun, excitement. There's nothing nicer. Now, I say this, you know, with a bit of pinch of salt. Now, my stepfather was in the army, and we've lived in a few hot countries. We lived in Cyprus for 2 years. It's nice to live in a hot climate. You know, you move abroad, people say, where's Lance gone? Oh, he's done well in trade. He's moved over to Dubai. You know, there's that little bit of excitement and stuff like that, up to 100,000. No, it's more than that in Dubai. They've introduced something new now. If you earn over, I think it's 300,000 to 500,000, something like that. I think it's 6% you pay, but compared to what, I mean, anything over 55,000 in the UK, you're paying 45%. 45%. Crazy, isn't it? And then if you earn over, I think it's 150, you're paying 50%. Crazy. So it'd just be nice to have a bit of the fun life, wouldn't it? Sipping sangria. Mind you, I wouldn't drink that. Sipping single malt. Overlooking at the beach in Dubai. Working 3 hours a day when all my friends back in the UK are working 9-10 hours a day in freezing cold, blighty, working their asses off. I just want to send them a nice photo and make them jealous. Absolutely, yeah. In fact, Dubai is the third safest place to live in the world, and that's based on safety with women as well. I know my father-in-law, sadly no longer with us, went over there for a few months, I think, and he said they left cars open, they didn't lock doors and stuff like that. So super safe, mind you. I think if you steal something, they chop your hands off, so it's probably a good deterrent. But I just want a bit of fun and a bit of excitement before I get too old. The beauty about trading is if you could earn some even half decent money, you've got that ability to go wherever you want. And you can't do that with other jobs, really. There's very few jobs you can do that with, in all honesty. Leg and a leg. So I kind of knew where price was going, but I just didn't, unfortunately, have an entry. So it's all right. I just noticed that Marco's just popped that on. Yeah, I think someone said that, didn't they? You're going to move to Switzerland. I've been to Switzerland. Well, I say I've been to Switzerland. When I was 21, I got the train from where I live to London, and then the train from London to to get the ferry in Ostend in Belgium. And then I travelled with train down from Belgium through Luxembourg, and then through Switzerland, and then to Austria. Uh, and Switzerland looks absolutely stunning. All that. The trouble is, when you've got mountains, lakes, and snow and blue skies, there's just something spectacular about it. But Switzerland looks beautiful. I remember stopping in, where was it? Geneva. Stopping in Geneva and seeing the fountains. I remember sending my mum some chocolates, box of chocolates from Geneva. I was 21 at the time, so that was a fair few years ago. A beautiful part of the world. Beautiful. Can be single walk the streets. Yeah, it's definitely. I think Dubai have since sense and realised. Do you know the strange thing enough? I always thought the biggest industry in Dubai was oil. It's not. You naturally think that it's tourism. Now, I think it was I forget his name, the king of the Prince of Dubai, or whatever his name is, Ali. He's got about 6 names, and I know he's got a big boat as well. He realised that the oil was going to run out, so he did the sensible thing and turned it into an amazing holiday destination. It's really attractive as well to the financial world for a start. There's so many people that move there in the financial industry because when you can work or invest or trade or whatever you do from a computer, you've got that luxury. So there are orders up here which is around about 76. So I'd like to see price hit 76 before I consider this thing going down. But I just want a little bit of excitement. I've lived a bit of a boring, dull life, I think. I just want to make people jealous. And where is he today? He's flown to Dubai. He's moved out there for a while. I want people to feel sick and see me on a beach with a beer and go, I wish I was him. It would be so nice just to have a little bit of excitement. When you're learning things like this, it's tough to learn trading. You've got to have your dreams. Your dreams help spur you on. I will say my dreams had me out in Dubai after 12 months. It's been 5 years now, so it's taken a little longer than I hoped. But there you go. You've got to have your dreams, whatever they are, whether it's a nice new girlfriend or a nice fancy car or your own house or whatever you want to do. You've got to have your dreams. Nature and culture. We've had plenty of nature. I live in a rural Shropshire town. We got loads of country and nature here. And in all fairness, it stinks. When you're living in areas, they go out and, sort of come into the growing season, they go out and spray fertilizer on the fields, and it just smells. There's something nice about living in the sun. Living near a beach. I remember last holiday I went to was about 5. It was just before lockdown. I went to Ibiza. We had 2 holidays in the space of about 3 months. We went to Rhodes in Greece first, and then went to Ibiza. And I just remember we went to this little place called Cala Lunga, and it's like a little inlet, and there was a couple of mega yachts parked there, and there was a beautiful white sandy beach, and had like a little beach hut there. And I remember sipping a pint of cider there with my feet up, just looking at it and thinking, I need more of this in my life. So whatever it is you want in life, always have dreams, always have things to push you and spur you when things get a bit tough. It just makes things easier, I think. Certainly does for me. So maybe there is something like that. It's hard to say at the moment. Trouble is, price could come further up, or it could trigger this higher low and come down. So orders 77.50. Just below, around about 77. So there are orders around about there. Let's say there, which is above a little bit of liquidity there. So leg, break, leg, push up, take out some liquidity, give us a second entry short. We've had a leg up. I'm just looking at this. The first leg, the second leg isn't as large as the first, so I wouldn't want to go short. Yeah, anyway. Maybe in Dubai, yeah. I can look for a younger wife out there, see? I'll leave my wife and daughter back here and say I'm going to go out to test the water. Then if I can find myself a really young, fit wife, I'll stay there. If not, I'll just come back. So you've got to give yourself options. No, there's no way my wife would let me go out there by myself. Not a chance. So that bullish bar hasn't triggered. Yeah, I don't think you can take anything just here at the moment, but the trouble is when you do nothing, price just tanks. As soon as you get in there, it triggers you. Ever tried the NQ? I've tried a little bit, yeah. I used to have it on the left side just to try and kind of maybe make better decisions, but the trouble is, if I'm taking evaluations, I'll usually trade them because it needs less of a move to pass them, but it flicks around a bit too much. Sometimes I've dropped my green order there to close the trade, and it hasn't closed it. It'll flick up. So I find it's just a little bit too quick and aggressive for me. I'm more of a bit of a girl when it comes to stuff. I like things a little bit more gentle. But I'm used to this now. I've been trading this chart now for about 4.5 years, so I kind of know how it works, and it works nice for me. Yeah, I'm a bit of a wussy when it comes to things. It scares me. I think it's for real men, in it. For real men or women. Put it that way. Funny today is Scotch. I've had some Scotch. I haven't had much, to be honest with you. But I have got a new wife in mind, actually. I'll show you. If I can find it. It's not a real one. It's my wife there, actually, with my daughter. Mine, that was a few years ago. It was a couple of years. No, it was a bit more than that. My wife and daughter. Uh, I am a great trader. I tend to rush things and destroy my accounts. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean there. Uh, when things are going well, you can spot trades and you can take them. Sometimes I think, though, when you've been trading well for a time, it's kind of hard to keep that. I suppose it's like doing a bit of tightrope walking. For the most of the time, you're walking on it really nice, and all of a sudden you slip and stumble. But I think when you slip and stumble, you do it less and less. So it does get better. I used to do a lot of what I call impulsive trading. I'd see a trade and bam, I'd just hit the sell button. And it used to go against me. And then when it went against me, I'm thinking, damn, it's going up. I went short. Then I'd immediately click a buy. And before I know it, I'd be 2 trades and $700 down. And then it's just tits up. Then everything just goes wrong. But when you've been trading a while, and Pats, for instance, you do know how to spot good setups. The trouble is, I don't find what I see easy setups they're a little bit more complicated and a little bit more of your trickier trades. And when you have a go at them, things can go wrong. So I think sometimes you're better off sticking with the easy stuff, risking a little bit more, but waiting for the good setups. You know, the more you risk, the less you kind of need to take in a way. I know it might sound a bit, you know, risking too much, but what I will say is trading one contract or trading two contracts to make the same sort of gains, I need to trade twice as much. So I think personally, if I'm finding hard to find setups and I may be a bit over strict, but when I do see a good setup, I go, I like that, and I take it straight away. And I'd say 95% of the time, when I see those, they work. So I think sometimes you're better off trading maybe two contracts instead of one and taking less trades, but waiting for the really, you know, the kind of top quality ones. The trouble is, if you're like me, you're constantly changing your idea. Yeah, there's my new wife there. She doesn't know she's my new wife, but when was that? 8 years ago. But I actually think there was me on my wedding day, but I think they make a good couple, actually. In fact, I think she's probably punching a bit above her weight with me, if I'm honest. But I showed my wife that, actually. I think she was the first to comment. Yeah, she did. Look, that was her comment. She said, twat. uh, Consider myself hyper scalper. I can't stay in weight. Yeah, I'm usually very good, but I leverage soon. One mistake. Yeah, it's not easy, is it? Uh, yeah, it's not easy trading. But what I will say is, very, very slowly, you do get better. How long have you been trading for, incidentally? I'm probably telling you something. You've probably been trading twice as long as me. So I've been trading basically 5 years now. And my trading, my skill level is obviously improved, even though you don't tend to focus on that as much. You tend to focus on what makes you feel like shit, which is the losing. You don't tend to focus on, well, there you go. So you've been trading twice as long as me. You kind of really have to try and be on your game, which is why I think bits of software like Guardian Angel Trader are great, just for those times where you have that lapse of judgment, a little bit of a weakness. The trouble is, you can go from being perfectly zero to being red by $600-700 in a matter of a few seconds, before you've even really had time to think. So I think having pieces of software like Guardian Angel that can look after you should the worst happen, you know, 2 losses and boom, it won't let you trade, or you know, something like that, I think is a good idea. You know, sometimes we all have those moments where we have a bit of weakness or we have a bad day, and I've done it myself, taking a trade and think, why did I take that? And then I'm frustrated, and all of a sudden you take another and you're down twice. And then you're kicking yourself, and because you're frustrated, then you decide to jump back in and try and get it all back. And before you know it, within the space of 2 minutes, you've got blown accounts. I don't do that now so much. I still have a tendency once in a while when I get a new account that's 6-0 to take too much of a risk. But when my accounts now, I've got $2,000-3,000, I go more into protection mode. The downside to having prop firms is when you have a PA account, although it's a PA account, you can make money, it's still got nothing in it. You can't withdraw until you make money. So there's still that kind of weakness that while I've got nothing in there, I've got nothing to lose. Let's take a bit of a risk. So, you know, you can still do that. But generally, when I have money in my accounts, I go into protection mode. Then you want to kind of look after it because you've worked hard to get it. But it's not easy trading. It is a long process, but it's a process that does get better. I don't get down or depressed anymore. I used to. I used to get really frustrated and feel miserable at times. I don't anymore. So that tells me that I'm toughening up to those emotions a little bit. Then it's like anything. If you get, you know, you've heard of people in relationships, they've had a couple of bad relationships and they get hardened up to it. And, you know, well, it's kind of the same. I've been reading books as well on mental aspect, but they seem to repeat the same. Yeah, they do. I'll tell you one conclusion I've come to. So you're like me, you've read books, you've watched videos, and they all say you need to change your mindset, but no one tells you how to do it. You know, it's like there's some sort of magic bullet to change your mindset. There isn't. And I'll tell you the honest answer. The only way you change your mindset is to expose yourself to trading every day and expose yourself to emotions, and they will slowly get better and better. Now, a quick story. I've told it half a dozen times before. When I was about 13, we were living in Hampshire in an army barracks called Tidworth. And I remember my stepdad at the time sent me to boxing classes. And I remember going there with a friend, and after about 3 months, we do bag work. You do a bit of skipping, a bit of running around, and using some pads and the speedball and all that sort of stuff. And I remember the very first time someone threw me a pair of gloves and said, "Get in the ring." And I got in the ring, felt nice and confident, and I got a punch in the face. And that changed things. I remember panicking, slapping like a girl. And you just lose it because you're not used to it. But then you've got some lads who've been boxing for a couple of years. They're a lot calmer. They're not panicking. They're using their skills. And it's because you get that kind of fight or flight reaction. It's exactly the same in training. But the more you expose yourself to it, the less of a factor it becomes. And that is the answer. There's no easy way of doing it. It's just exposure over a period of time. The longer you're exposed to it, the more you get used to it, the less of an issue it becomes. No one tells you that. They always say you've got to change your mindset, but no one tells you what to do. So that's the conclusion I've come to. When you think about it, it makes perfect sense. When you think about it logically, it makes sense. I'm going to adjust this. So it's a case of, now, when I went down to see my sister, my brother-in-law had a go at trading for a while. And we went out for a few drinks, and I went, "How's the trade? Are you doing it?" And he went, "No, I've stopped. I don't need it in my life." So it's not for everyone. It's going to be painful. You're going to get punishment, and you're going to lose money. It's a fact. But if you can just stick at it, it will get better. It's impossible to sit in front of these markets every day and not get a better understanding how they work. But, you need to just put time in, and it depends. I'm lucky in a sense that I've managed to sort of give up work part-time and spend more time trading. I was lucky because I had some money from affiliate. And then I did some part-time work weekends to try and, because I knew what I wanted to do, so I kind of swapped and changed things around so I was able to commit more time. But it's still taken me 5 years, and I'd say this year has been my best year. But you still have those moments where you get a little wobble, which is why I think it's useful to have those bits of software in place, just in case the worst happens. I start to give up after 8. Yeah, and you can completely understand why people say, "Oh, this is just, I can't do this." You can completely understand, because it looks so easy. I mean, I've got green and red bars that are going up and down. All I've got to do is click the mouse. How hard can it be? It's very, very misleading. I remember saying to my wife after the first year, "I'll be earning 10,000 a month." And after the second year, I said the same. And I've been trading 5 years now, the next couple of weeks. So, but if you think about it, and I've heard this saying, if it was easy, everyone would be doing it and earning a fortune. We know you can earn significant amounts of money, and you're never going to be able to earn money that easy, ever, unless you're gifted with an amazing voice or some sort of a ridiculous talent. If you're born with an amazing voice, you could potentially earn a fortune, but, nothing's quite that as easy as it looks. You'll get a bounce on the biggest downtrend lows if you draw it using the first swing. You'll get a bounce on the biggest downtrend. So what I will say is there's big orders down here at 55, which is right here. So I'll just bring in this first. This measured move here is just below 55. And look here, we got a bunch of orders at 55. So, you're on about from here, are you? So this is kind of, I expected a second leg down here, but I expected it to move down from here. I didn't expect it to go up that far. And then when it went up there and did this, I thought, now we're pushing up to the side. So I'm assuming you're thinking that, are you? Something like that, yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if Mac draws that. Trouble is, really, as a downtrend, you can't use it unless price gets up here. So if I get rid of that, draw maybe. We got triple test here, and then that's kind of the next swing, isn't it? So it's hard to say really where exactly you do it. If I look at Bookmap here, I can see orders at 65 and at 55. So if I draw a line at 65, I think this is where price will come to, which is there, which funnily enough is right at the top of the channel. Maybe above that liquidity. And then down to 55, which is down here. So channel break, new high, pick off some more sellers up here, and then drift down. So let's have a look here. So let me just draw a little micro channel there. That looks okay. Trouble is there a break there? It's hard to say here. Maybe there is. Okay, so that's hit those orders now. Now, there isn't much above there now, so I'd like to see a reaction from this line, this channel break new high. It's hit those orders. So trouble is that looking like maybe a bigger channel? There are buy orders now around about 62 down here. So we could come down and push up again. It could be one channel that. If it is one channel without a break, we may come down and go up for a second channel. So there are orders appearing now at 70. So this may come up and clear this liquidity. You can see them now. They weren't there before. All of a sudden, people are saying, if you come up to here, I'll jump in here. At 70, which is there. So that, in a strange way, yeah, that kind of looks like, you may argue it's a little bit this, but I think it's more a channel, which means we may get pull back here and a push up. It's a bit hard to say. Where's my scotch? I'm making this last. Can't drink too much. I got to pick my daughter up at 10 o'clock tonight from a Halloween party, so I'm just going to have the one. It's been quite a fun day today. Sometimes I like having a nice chat. Helps me clear my mind and my thoughts a little bit. Okay, so that's picked up those orders there. But there are buy orders here and here, so this thing may go a little bit higher. You can see that there are buyers there around about the 66. So it may come down and push up a bit more. That's definitely just one leg up, that is. Tell yourself it's your last short trade, but you just end up coming back anyway, yeah. I watch, who's the guy? Yusuf something or other. I watched some of his stuff, and he had real problems when he was learning to trade. He'd trade, finish for the day, up a little bit. He'd come back later and swear he wasn't going to take another trade, and your mind manufactures a trade, you'd end up losing a chunk of it. So it doesn't matter how good or successful a trader you are, you've still had a tough ride. So there are orders at around about 67, which is about there. Somewhere around about there. So it may come back, push up a bit more. So we had this move down, didn't we? This one leg down, and then we had one hell of a big pullback. Now we got this second leg down. So we have cleared out liquidity here. My thought process, we were going to come down here. When we were pushing this leg down, I thought we're going to make a break here. And then the natural progression when you've cleared all this out is to move to that next level down, which is here. Now it's pushed below there. Now it's having a pullback. So it just depends how far it's going to pull back before it decides to go again. That's, of course, if it does. There are no guarantees. We didn't quite make that measured leg, but there's strong buy in there. So that's quite low, wasn't it? So you probably expect orders down there. So let me just join these two swings here and see if this plays a part. It may well do. We've pushed up, haven't we, after this, and we've had two more attempts, like a triple test, and that's when it came down. Now, I went to that next swing there, which gave us this, but then we pushed up, so probably go from the top there to that next swing down. Trouble is, you'll have to bring this lower. You may argue there's a bit of an overshoot, which is... It's not the easiest of days, is it, like this? Yeah, I agree with that. Passionate about it, so just keep going. Yeah, absolutely. I like to have a challenge. I've always enjoyed a challenge. If someone says I can't do something, I love that because I can't wait to see the face when I do it. So I love a challenge. Now, I won't say who, but one of our kind of family members said, "What's Lance doing trading for?" Yeah, but surely people who trade are people who've just come out fresh out of university with A levels and degrees coming out their ears. How come he thinks he can do it? Stuff like that just drives me. Just drives me. I love that. Someone says you can't do something. I'll move hell and high water. I just love that feeling. Sometimes I just love it. I love the challenge. It's nice to get your teeth into something and really, because when you eventually start to make consistent money and you make your life as a trader, by God, you've deserved it because you've really put in the time. You know, you'll work hard more than most jobs when you're learning to trade. But the good thing is when you start to make money, think about it. I mean, I've done 3 hours today. Normally I'll be knocking off now. How many people work 3 hours a day? You know what I mean? How many people could just decide to have today off or just decide to take a month off and they'd still come back to work tomorrow and the work would be there? The freedom is an amazing part. I've always hated the normal rat race of work, 7 till 8 or 7 till 6 or whatever it is. I've always hated that. Having to get out of bed at 5:30 in the morning to start at 6:30 and work your ass off for someone else's dreams. Never like that. These hours suit me. This kind of lifestyle suits me. But I've got to say, it's taken a long time for me to get to the stage where I'm really enjoying my trading. Studying med school, trade on a sim. Yeah, Wattick was a doctor, wasn't he? What's his name? The king of price action. What's his name? Get his name now. Who's the king of price action? What? Who Macklin? No, not Dr. Spock. Sorry about that. What's his name? Al Brooks. Al Brooks. He went to medical school and decided to become a trader. He's earned way more money as a trader and worked way less hours than he ever would as a doctor. Al Brooks, yeah. I mean, doctors work ridiculous hours, 50, 60 hours a week and some. I know junior doctors are only on about 35,000 a year. It's crazy. So now we've hit this level, haven't we? So channel break, new low, sorry, new high. So I wouldn't take a trade here at the moment, but I'm looking for a reaction. Yeah, sorry about my wife. She said Dr. Spock. It's not Dr. Spock. I was thinking about. He was a. That's correct. Yeah, that's it. He was an eye surgeon, wasn't he? The good money. I think a GP in the UK, which is a general practitioner working in a surgery, I think are on about 66,000 a year. I know some bricklayers earning that. I mean, a doctor, it's a massive responsibility. If you get things wrong, you're talking life or death, aren't you? I know my cousin went to university for 3 years. So he went to college, did his A levels, went to university to become a teacher. And he gave it up after a while. Teachers are on about 32,000 a year. It's crazy. As a doctor, and was offered 500,000 a year as a doctor. I dare say some consultants and specialist doctors can earn good money. Yeah, absolutely. I don't doubt it. But let me just, it'd be interesting to know this. Let me just do this. Okay. So UK doctor's salary. So okay, so salary. Docs. Sorry, no doctors. Salary of a doctor in the UK. Okay, so this is salary for a doctor in the UK. So 2025. So foundational trade, specialist trade speciality doctors. It's basically 60 to 100,000. Consultants can expect basically 100,000, depending on. I mean, you're talking years of experience there. Consultants, I dare say you've done medical school and probably had 10 years experience plus. But that's quite poor, really, for the work they do. Specialist doctor between 60 and 99,000. That's crazy, really. It's mad, isn't it? Okay, channel break new high. There is a lower high there, kind of confirming that. My only slight concern is it's a little bit congested. I'm thinking it's that, but I'm not super sure. Yeah, it depends what you do, I suppose, Dr. White. I mean, I've heard of doctors earning 200,000 a year and stuff like that, but you've got to be super experienced, that very, very highly educated. It's a massive responsibility, and I'm guessing you're going to do ridiculous hours. There is liquidity there and there. Trouble is, it's a little bit stacked here. So my concern here is we end up doing something like this. Second entry long there. You've got Trader's Trap there. Now, I'm not saying it's definitely going to do that, but touch, it may do. So doesn't look like it's coming down, doesn't it? But all of a sudden it looked like it dropped and then it was going to push up. It's tempting that. That's the kind of place where I'd expect. But it's a little bit sideways here. It's not super clear. I wouldn't call that a strong rejection to that line. So let's see what Bookmap is telling us. So with prices here at the moment, there are buyers here around about 67. So this may push up a bit. Uh, and there are orders up as far as 80. So this may push up a bit higher, which is why I've decided to leave us short here. Now there's no guarantees, but there are orders around about 68, 69, which is just below this level here. And now all of a sudden, look at that. So if you'd have got short there, you'd be panicking about now, wouldn't you? I can't see that pushing up there and not stopping that out. You can see it's pushing up to 73-ish now. There are orders at 75, 77. So push up there, liquidity there and there. We'll see. No guarantees, but that's kind of what I would have thought. Mind you, we do seem to be finding some resistance there. So calibrate new high, possible failure here. Trouble is, it's a little bit stacked up here. And there are orders, as I say, around about here. 68, 68 and a half, which is right below that bar there. So, so there is a possible failure there. Trouble is, it's above that EMA. I'm not too sure. It's 14 ticks. That's too much risk for a Friday for me. As I say, I do expect price to come down to here, but it's not very far. Gonna say, when we had this leg down like that, we had one hell of a pullback, didn't we? So what I will say is, if we have got something like this, this thing could go considerably higher. So at the moment, I'm just not super sure. So there are some more orders around about there. Let's just push through them now. So if we get a lower high and absorb them orders, that might not be terrible. Yeah, so that is working, isn't it? I was very tempted with that. Trouble is, on here, it's a little bit stacked. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 6 bars side by side. There's no trade on here. There was here, but it was 14 ticks and above that EMA. Now it's collapsing. Sod's law, that is. Yeah, see, it looks different on here. That looks better, and that's a small break. That actually looks better. Trouble is, when we've had a break, I'd have to wait for it to push below the EMA to take. So let's see if we get a couple of pushes back up. Let's see where it's targeting. I was just hoping we'd have a couple of legs. I wouldn't get short there, see, so my gut was going to trigger this push up, stop that out, and then come down. Should do a video explaining how to integrate. Yeah, trouble is, I kind of don't consider myself proficient with it. Just by watching it, I've just kind of tried to understand how I could maybe use it. So, I mean, I'd have to, yeah, I suppose, I could mail people just, the trouble is, I know Mac doesn't use it, so you don't know sometimes whether you're just going to complicate things for people. I find it helps me. Whether it would be suitable for everyone's different. See, some people go and now I've spoken to Dan about having a second chart. Doesn't do it. He's told me get rid of it. But then I know Marco. He's agreed with me. He's taken more trades on his left hand chart than the main chart, and Taylor has as well. So some people just go, no, I don't want the complication. You know what I mean? So it's hard, really. So. But the trader I showed earlier that got into that trade and got stopped out, I left it because I could see there, maybe some people would go, well, yeah, that might have saved me a loss there. So it's something to think about. Something to think about. We need a little push up here. We've got a channel down with a bit of sideways. Now we know, as a rule, price goes down, across and down, and it's just two legs, but we need a little bit of a push up, clear any liquidity, and then give us maybe two legs like that trade I probably should have took earlier. There, channel down, two legs up, cleared liquidity. The reason I didn't take that is two reasons. One, it was halfway in the range. Two, it was 14 ticks. Three, it hadn't ticked above there. That's what concerned me. But now I can see it, and you can see it move. I know it works. So, it's one of those things, isn't it? It's easy when you've seen it work, but at the time when you're not sure where it's going to go. Yeah, I didn't think that was going to get back, to be honest with you. Trouble is, I was tempted to take that second entry short. You're trapping traders here. Trouble is, there's no room to the lows. That's the problem. You take a short here. What's that? 3 ticks to the lows. You don't know where it's going to trigger and push up back to that EMA, which looks like it's doing. So if you took a short there and you're thinking, yeah, I've trapped everyone. Yeah, it's come below the lower high and then trap them out and then pushed up to stop you out because you took it too far from that EMA. So there you go, boom, boom, you're kind of done. So it's another reason why I wouldn't take that. But a trade up here going short, I would. So we've now pushed up and cleared out any liquidity. So but I think that's why I kind of see these areas. And as tempting as they are, it looks weak, especially there, because there's so much space to the EMA. So you don't know when it's going to trigger you and then shoot back up to the EMA and then end up. Usually, if you get in premature, it'll push up, stop you out, and then end up going the same damn place that you thought it was going to anyway. But which is why it's frustrating. Now I can't take this at the moment because it's only a first entry. There's kind of the failure, so I just can't. I have to. The safety bit is waiting for the second entry short stroke lower high because you never know if it's going to trigger you and push up and go a bit higher. Which it looks like it's doing. So if you're thinking you're taking this short here, it's stopped everyone else out, and now I'm in at the right time. That may be the case, but it's only really a first entry. If we can get a second entry short, you've trapped a bull bar there and a higher low. So that will be a stronger setup, obviously, as long as the bearish bar looks better. So another thing as well I will say is we're going a little bit sideways here. So if it does push up, gets rid of this, we may get a little break out the range, which we can fade that. to give us that second leg down. Whether it will or not, I don't know, but maybe something like that, which will get us that second leg down to that measured move. It's whether it will go up or just drop. That's not a terrible looking bearish bar. As I say, it's only a first entry, so I can't take it, but it has pushed above a lot of this and it has trapped that big bull bar. But at the moment, we're in this little range here, so it may just decide to push up quickly, clear out that, give us a second entry short and a little breakout, hopefully that would fail. Sometimes I wonder whether I think too much. Here we go. So I'm just going to get a little order up here ready.
Order submitted.
So now that's stopped that out. So possible second entry short there. I don't want it to be this bar though. You could say triple test then. Bar's not going to finish right for a start, so we'd want another little push up. That would trigger the higher low there, and then maybe. Let's get this out of the way a minute. I want a bearish bar. I don't think we're going to get it. I think this bar's going to finish as an inside bar, which is no good really. It's tempting to take that. There is a second entry short, but it's 15 ticks. How much room's to the low? Not enough for me. It's too risky. It's 0.3. 67.5. There's orders, which is there, right above there. It may work this, but there's not much room to the lows for me, so I'm sitting tight. Those up there. It's funny, those orders there have disappeared now. Well, there's a lot less of them, put it that way. Yes, if you'd have taken that one, trigger just stopped you out. There's no entry there. I don't want to take that. It's by the time you get in, you're nearly 2/3 of the way down. If I was scalping for a point, I may well have a go at it.
Order cancelled.
Someone did. I know it was the worst trade in the world, but you've got to be out before the lows there, and the points I go for is not enough, really. But if it gets below there, my guess is it'll come down for the second leg, which is, you know. I think I'm going to trade for a bit longer, actually. Monday change. Ah, they do. They got you. Okay, breakout. Pullback. Trap. May get a lower high. Trap some shorts here. Still room to the lows here, so I'm just going to get an order here just in case we get a
Order submitted.
pullback. Got a bull bar there to trigger and then come down. Wilson, shush, lad. Shush.
Order cancelled.
You got trick-or-treaters round, I think. That's what the dogs are barking for. The darker evenings. I barely noticed them, to be fair, mate. I've only really kind of noticed now that I've kind of just looked behind me and the dogs are starting to growl. Wilson was starting to growl. I've just looked out the window and there's kids out there, trick-or-treaters out there. So I kind of like it, I do. I think we're lucky in the UK. We have a nice balance of weather. You know, we have our nice sort of sunny summer and then we have our lovely kind of crisp autumn and winter days and nights. So a lot of people do love our weather. So I kind of like them. You know, we cook a lot more beef stews and, you know, in the winter and that. It's kind of nice, isn't it? And obviously as a trader, you don't have to go out in the cold, do you? So it's a win-win for me. So yeah, I kind of like them. I do. I think we get a good mix. So what part of Spain are you in, Karina? So you'll still be kind of mild there, won't you? Depending on whereabouts you are in Spain. I don't know. I've been to mainland Spain before. I've been to uh, uh, I'm thinking of where Magaluf is. I've gone blank. Oh, Almeria. Oh, my sister-in-law went to Almeria years ago. Yeah, nice. I've been to what is it? Not the Balearics. Yeah, is it the Balearics? Ibiza, right? Where's Magaluf and Palma? Palma Nova, Palma. I think. Yeah, my sister-in-law went to Almeria. Loved it. So there is kind of like a breakout pullback. I'm just sitting tight here at the moment. Mallorca, that's it. Yeah, I've been to Mallorca. I love Mallorca. I thought it was lovely. Good thing about Mallorca is it's a 2-hour flight from the UK, so it's you're up, you're down, you're up, bit of food, quick scotch, and you're already seatbelting up, ready for the landing. So I love Mallorca. Actually, I thought it was really nice. I had a crazy night out. I think I probably told you about it. It involved some strippers, a bucking bronco, and a few broken ribs. It's quite a wild night that was. Me and a buddy of mine. I remember laying on the bar at about midnight, drinking some sort of a drink concoction out of a lady's stiletto. Good times. Ireland, worst hangover I've ever had in Ireland. I went on the ferry over to Ireland and we started drinking Murphy's. If you don't know what Murphy's is, it's very much like Guinness. It's a thick, dark ale. We started drinking Murphy's on the boat at about 11 o'clock in the morning on the way over there, and we finished about 4 o'clock the following morning. I got to say, it's the worst sick I've ever been. There's nothing worse than being on a boat when you're really hungover. I remember being on my hands and knees in the toilets, and I wasn't alone. I was sick on the floor. It was all over my hands. Oh, what a mess. Oh, what a mess. So we're at the lows now, so there's nothing I could do. You kind of know where it's going to go. It's just a bit frustrating, isn't it? Uh, things you do. Mallorca is like my yeah. We got is it Mallorca, and something else? Majorca, I think, isn't it? They're nice islands, actually, and super close to the UK. Oh, this is. Yeah, so more or less what we kind of thought, with the exception of that pullback was a little stronger. So you naturally think once this is pushed up and cleared all this, the next target is this area, which is exactly what it did. So the thought process is kind of right. So now, do we have a leg down? A leg down, come down a bit further. But once we get below this level, I'd certainly expect some kind of a pullback. If you're riding this down, you're going to be looking at taking profits around there. So if around there is about 50, let's just have a check. So yeah, we're below there then. So there's 50. And if we look on bookmap, interesting. Well, actually, a little bit more. That, I'd say, is around about, realistically, 51. And if we look at bookmap, look where those orders are. Right between 50 and 52. So 51 being right in the middle. So that kind of makes sense, doesn't it? Where you expect there to be buyers is kind of right where it kind of makes sense, doesn't it? So you expect profit taking by sellers get out here, take their profits, buyers jump back in at 41, and the buyers are between 50 and 52. So that kind of makes sense right below there. You had a strong move up there, so you'd expect that area to be targeted. So small pullback here and a little bit further down, I'd say. Trouble is, there's nothing you can take here really unless it gets back to that EMA. And we've had the 2 legs down, which we thought we would. Tell a lie, that goes a little bit lower, but yeah, more or less. That's where I would suggest. So I still think this will come down a bit further. Like to see a couple of legs back up to here. More trick-or-treaters, I think. Okay, see what happens here. So there's bound to be profit taken before the lows. So there is a higher low there, bullish bar and a higher low. So I think there's a good chance this comes back. You've just got to be a little careful because it may push a bit higher, may come up and test this area. So I don't want to automatically think that this is going to come down from here. So there are some orders, not huge amounts, around about 57. Hold on. Why is that not? Oh, I haven't played it, you muppet. Ah, it's always gone. Oh, 60, sorry. I paused it, I think. So there are orders at 60, which, funnily enough, is right above there. So I think there's a good chance that pushes up, stops that out, hits the 50 level. You've got a higher low there. That would be a second entry short there. Very tempting, that is.
Order submitted.
Still orders at 60 that it hasn't hit. I don't mind that.
Order submitted.
Okay, up to the EMA and down. There's going to be shorts there for certain. Push down, come on. I'm not going to be too greedy here. I just want to pick off that one there. It's bound to be. Once it's there. Come on. Let's just get out here. $200.
Order filled.
That's it. Everything's closed. Just go for 2 points, I think. I'm not going to push my luck here. But it is a second entry short. It's probably going to come down. So that, yeah, that will get me to my payout level. Now, it's probably going to come a bit low. There's bound to be orders there, bound to be orders and there. So if it does push, it will. But I'm happy to get $200 per account. 11 accounts. It's $2,200 minus fees. So I'm happy with that. I did like that, though. It pushed up. That's another good reason for Bookmap. Pushed up, hit those orders, trap in some longs. You'd expect it to come down. So Bookmap helped me out there. Triggered above that bull bar. Didn't quite get to there, but those orders, if you look at those 60 orders, they're not that strong. They're much stronger. You can see 850. So it's still going to come down, that is. Well, it would have worked for the full amount. So maybe I should have been a bit patient. But, you know, I'm trading 2 contracts now, so I'm happy at the moment with 2 points, $200. But it would have worked. So a little bit of patience, a little bit of working a few things out, seeing that there was a bunch of big, strong orders down here. You'd expect price to go down. What I like about it is we've got this. We've got a bullish bar here, another bullish bar, and then we've got a higher low there. And straight away, it triggered above there and came straight down. So once it gets below there and below there, that's kind of where you expect it to go. So on that note, I think I'm about going to finish, I think. So, yeah, I should be able to put an order in for $3,000. I'm not sure whether to just leave it in there and work it back up to 4,000 again and then take 2. I don't know. I'll see how I feel. Nothing I can do till tomorrow anyway. So, that worked. Did what it said on the tin. Did anybody else take that? 4, 5, yes. Second entry short. Yes, some did. Also just got that second entry short. Yeah, I think some took it. Let's have a look. Yeah, well, some missed it. Let's have a look. Taylor said, damn, missed that second entry short. I took it, 1 contract, 12 ticks. Yeah, someone else. No, I really need that second entry short, please. Yes, I will risk it. So, yeah, a fair few people took it. I probably should have held there, but to be honest with you, I wanted to get out just at there. And when I hit 2 points, because I'm going for a little bit more risk now, I'd just rather have guarantee myself $200 per account on a Friday rather than 3. Now, if that had pushed a bit higher and that bar would have been sat there, I'd have had a go at that. But what I am thinking, if you'd have gone long there, you're going to get stopped out. But sometimes just take 2 points, not be so greedy. Especially on a Friday, it's always nice to stay green on a Friday. So 11 accounts, $200, so 2,200 minus a little bit of fees. So based on that, I'm going to leave you guys to it. So I'm nicely up. I'm nicely up for the day. You can see my it's there. $200. That's a sim, by the way, so ignore that. That's already with the fees taken out. So nice, little over $2,000, $2,150, I think, after fees, somewhere about there. So that'll do me for the week. So it's not been a bad week, actually. I'll be able to put in for another $3,000 now. So I'm pleased about that. So that will make 16.5, 17.5, 18.5, 9. That will be $19,500 dollars for October. Now, bearing in mind, I've got that because I was patient and grew the account. I may have had that a little bit more often, but I'm real pleased with that anyway. So I appreciate your company. We've had a nice chat today. I like having a chat. So I'll leave you guys to it. So happy Halloween. Have a good Halloween if you're out tonight trick-or-treating. Have a fantastic weekend. I'll be back on Monday, and we'll do it all again. So yeah, you take care too. So stay safe. Have a great weekend. If you're carrying on trading, fingers crossed for you, and we'll catch up on Monday. Bye for now.